And welcome back. My cast, will you just say something for me?
Something.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Audio is back. Hi, everyone. Hi. Hello. Welcome to episode 4 of City of Light and Shadow, a Fate French resistance campaign. And I'm happy to have you all back and have you here. We're back. If you'd like to host or retweet that we are live, that would be much appreciated. We had some audio problems, which sometimes OBS seems to be a little bit finicky about recognizing audio, but it seems to be working now. And that's really all we can ask for. Welcome in. I would like us to do an introduction of all of our cast. We're going to go around. We're going to start backwards first with Rocket Fox. Who are you, and tell us about your character?
Hello, everyone. I am Rocket Fox. I was going to introduce who Lil Red Fox would be, but
we'll have to show that another day.
That's for the later version. So, I am Rocket Fox. I am a performer, storyteller, illustrator, and woman about town inside the house, because that's how we're doing things these days. But yeah, you can find me anywhere. You look up Rocket Fox, like the Rockettes, and I will be there. And I have recently started streaming on my own stream again. I had a storytelling thing last night that was pretty awesome. And I'm playing Sylvie Moreau, who is a sassy jazz singer with maybe a bit of an opinionated mouth that she can't keep to herself. So, yeah.
That is true. That is true about Sylvie. I know that about Sylvie. Let's head on over the next way over to Little Red Dot.
Oh, hi everybody. I'm Little Red Dot. You can find me online making things on Twitch with lots of amazing people like these folks. And you folks. I'm really excited to be here tonight because I had a really bad day, and I know that tonight's game is going to rectify that. Even though I'm starting out in a pickle. You know what Regina could use right now?
A pickle?
No. Oh. Well, Dot could use a pickle. Regina could use some fate points to get her out of the pickle she is currently in. So you're feeling saucy, help us out. Because
luckily, we have gotten, right before we started, 4 fate points redeemed. And
for the pot?
Yes, for the pot.
Okay, I don't feel so bad about taking more.
So you currently have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 fate points waiting for you.
So I'm playing Regina. She's our German, good German, though she weeps for her country at the moment. She does so in hiding in France because she is basically a blacklisted agent for old Britain.
They would like to talk to you.
Oh, I bet they would, but they're not on a roof at the moment, about to get arrested or potentially killed by some Nazis. So, England.
I bet the Germans would like to talk to you as well.
Oh, well, the Germans are going to get their chance. They can just wait their turn like a good German.
JF, why don't you tell us who you are and also who you're playing today?
Bonjour, I am Jean-François on this stream, Jean-François Méon. Double crits on Twitter. I want to give a big shout out to La France today that is decided to extend its lockdown 2 more weeks. So they are currently facing this a situation that isn't too dissimilar to Paris in 1941.
Yeah.
So playing tonight for La France, I'm playing Jules Césaire, a demobilized French soldier whose mother is from Martinique. He's black in 1941 Paris. This has been trouble for him in the past, but now that the Nazis have taken over his city, it is much worse. He's an incredible driver, and has remained passionate about the cause, particularly because this is his city, and most people have fled it. So he's fighting for his country, his city, and his family.
We have one more player who is not currently with us, and that is James Stiver, who is being made to work late in this time of madness. I think he works in IT, and I think we all know that everybody's IT is overtaxed at the moment. But he may be sliding in, perhaps at the break. We'll see when he can sort of arrive, if he can. And if he does, that is what it will be. I am troopersjp. I'll be your GM for today, and my job is to give the players things that help reveal their characters. Adversity.
You use the word help.
Help. Yes. I just want to reveal your character to the world through adversity. That's all. And let me see. So. I should say that if you donate tips or bits, if you give us a message, I will read them out at the break and at the end of the show. And you can also support this show on Patreon to help support Pay the Cast and also our artist and overlay artist and all of that. But let's begin by talking about where we last left our crew, our heroes. It's
on a beach.
On a beach, yeah. Beach with a Mai Tai. Everything's great.
And a Frenchman. That's where Dot is.
like a hot Frenchman, without a shirt.
That's this game, right?
And then you're like, oh no, wait. Oh no.
Oh
no. Like you had this great pool boy, there's a whole thing going on, but then
I'm on a rooftop in France.
Yeah.
In the rain.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to let you know where I thought we were.
So here it is. It is Tuesday, May the 13th, 1941. Paris is occupied. It's not been occupied for very long, but the occupation has come in brutally quick. And our heroes are all in separate spaces at the moment. The party has separated, which is fine because you can't always hang out together. Sometimes you have things to do on your own. And we have Jules and also Tango have been sort of rounded up because the Nazis have need of laborers, rounded them up to go and work on delivering supplies and help setting up a party at a chalet, the Chalet du Mont, which is just on the edges of Paris, and it's a beautiful palatial estate. And they have been gathering palm trees and large bits of furniture to sort of move into this chalet. They have learned that there's going to be a party there tonight, and Stiver, Tango and Jules have learned that this party is going to be a degenerate art party with all sorts of degenerate and art that you should not look at because it's something terribly wrong. And the whole place is sort of being done up to look like some sort of colonial fantasy with palm trees and yes. And Jules, who is who's mixed race, was tagged to work as a waiter at this party because he will look good with their theme. And so at the moment, Jules and Tango are at the estate. It's during the day. It's the afternoon, noonish, and they are working on trying to figure out. They're doing labor work. This does, however, give them the opportunity to do some prep work for their entry into the party later tonight. They know that the group wants to sort of come into this party, and Jules and Tango are there now at the estate before everyone arrives. So if they want to do anything, they can do so. We know that Tango has sort of set up a hidden camera in a corner of the big ballroom, and I will come back to Jules and ask if there's anything particularly he wants to do. Now, Sylvie, after having a sort of a late night that involved alcohol and a morning that involved a cup of coffee made for her by Tango, they spent the evening dancing. And then, as you do,
As you do,
she got up and she went to go and meet. Our Regina to go because they wanted to go and tag team and meet up with Jeanette and try to convince Jeanette to get them into this party. But Regina, who's always on time, did not arrive at the club to go there, which was a little bit disconcerting, but Sylvie didn't want to miss the opportunity to sort of go and meet with Jeanette. She goes to Jeanette's home, which is a sort of a squalid garret that is quite poor, and she's there with her mother and two siblings. And Jeanette clearly does not have a lot of money and is a little bit embarrassed about it. And Jeanette and Sylvie go to a cafe, they chat, and through some great flattery, which Sylvie is quite skilled at, she's able to convince Jeanette that what she should really, really do is get the club's band in to the party so that Jeanette can sing as well as Sylvie, because what else, if you need a degenerate art party, you need degenerate music, and jazz is the most degenerate. And also that if this could happen, Jeanette could get a job at the cafe, which is something that she does need. She needs money. And Jeanette has decided that she's going to attempt to do this. And she said that she can get them into this party. They can play, then she can perform. So she can basically show off to her boyfriend, who told her that she should not be singing at this party. Sure, it'll be fine for her.
Well, I'm sure.
Sure, it'll go well. He does not want her singing at this party because she is not good. And then Sylvie, after having sort of made this arrangement that they're going to arrive at the party at 6 before it starts to get ready, and that they're going to sort of bring in 6 people, goes over to Regina's house, which is a sort of basement apartment underneath a butcher shop. And the door's dead bolted from the outside. On the inside is Mustang, our American flyer, who's locked inside and is
hostage.
Like a hostage. And he's like, no. And Sylvie decides not to help him and is like, stay there. Goes back to the club, and the question is, what is she going to do about the fact that no one has seen Regina for a bit? Meanwhile, our Regina was doing her radio broadcast to London, to England. And, as you do, it's not that big of a deal. She makes her way up to the top of a building, an apartment building, not hers, because she mixes up each time. She makes her way to an apartment building. She's at the top, and broadcasting is always a race. It's a race between you and the detector vans. Can you figure out what's going on can you get your message out and in before they arrive? Sadly for her, while carrying this experimental smaller radio up there on this building, the first 10 minutes of broadcasting, it's no good. The weather's not great, and it messes up the signal, and it takes her longer than she wants to broadcast. She's still able to get it done in a fast amount of time, but not fast enough. As she just finishes her broadcast and packs up her equipment, at that moment, 3 or 4 vans of Nazis with their detector van pull up into the street in between these apartment buildings and out flood a couple of platoons of Nazi soldiers, and they bust into this apartment building and they're tramping up the stairs. They also bust into the apartment buildings next door and across the street because you can pinpoint where it is, but you can't pinpoint it so exact. They know that somebody is broadcasting right here in this area, and so they're combing through all of these buildings to find who is our spy. Now, we're going to start with Regina since she's the earliest in our time frame.
Yeah.
And also, I just feel like, you're interested in what happens, maybe. And I mean, I don't know. Maybe you're like, whatever. You're like, I don't, you don't care. You have on your person an experimental radio from the UK that the Germans would love to get their hands on if they could. You also have on your person a basket, right? That's lovely. I think it's filled with
you said it was filled with like knitting to cover the radio, and then I usually carry my camera bag, which is
like you've got your camera bag. You have like a breakfast in there, right? So it's like you are going to have some kind of like a breakfast on a roof.
Yeah, my camera and all the stuff, and then what else do I have? Well, there's the gun I laid on the ground. We'll get there, and and then the basket of stuff. I'm fucked.
And then you have, and the thing is that's really also quite not great for you is that you have your code book. The code book does not have the way to decode or encode, but you have to write down the message. And the message is a string of letters, right, that you're sort of taking from the Morse code, like a good block of things that you have to decode later. You don't have the time to do it now, that you've had to sort of transcribe. And it's, if you look at one of these things, it's like blocks of 5 letters apiece, like C, F, G, X, 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 L, G, and it's like a big, huge block of these letters that you have transcribed as quickly as you could. So you have a message that has come in from London, and then you sent out your message in return with a final note. You let them know that Tango's arrived. Well, you said that the last time. You let them know that there is some sort of mole in the comet line. You sort of talked about what's going on there. You talked about something big's happening. You talked about the party. That something is on the horizon. And then you left this last message to Ophelia, your godmother, the one who is your regular contact, and it was, "Get thee to a nunnery." And the second half was.
Well, I have this in my notes.
Because there's more than one. Because he says it a lot.
Yeah, it's the full. It's the full line. What is it? It's "Get thee to a nunnery. Why wouldst thou be such a breeder of sinners?"
Yes. "Get thee to a nunnery. Why wouldst thou be such a breeder of sinners?" And that was the last sort of. And I imagine that one was an unencrypted message, just sort of sent through as there is a problem. And that you were able to send out right as Nazis are coming into the building. And this is where we will start our session for today. You are on the top of this roof. You can hear the boots of soldiers climbing stairs, knocking on doors. Well, not knocking really, sort of banging on doors and insisting that they be opened. There are a couple of things that you will know about your situation. One, if they get the radio, that's bad. If they find the radio, well, if they get the radio, that's bad for the cause. If they find the radio, that's bad for you, because there's no talking your way out of that. The next thing is, being on this roof is not great in terms of if you are in an apartment, you might be able to sort of seem innocent, but being on the roof does not help your case. Talking your way out of that one is not going to be easy, because if you're going to be broadcasting from somewhere, a roof is a good one, and they know that someone's up here.
Okay.
So that's not great. And you're on a 4-story apartment building.
Yeah.
And it's a lovely late morning. It's about noonish, and there are streams. Oh, and by the way, I've added a new aspect for the campaign itself, and that is Nazis are everywhere.
Great.
And you are in a space. There are a number of apartment buildings, right, sort of next to each other on the street and on both sides of the street. What would you like to do?
Okay, they're not here yet.
They are not here yet.
The door they're coming in, is it like rooftop flat, or is there, like a concrete piece that like the door comes out of?
It's you know what it looks like those rooftop things that kind of look like a little shed.
Oh yeah.
It's
okay.
like it's not, of course it's not a shed, but like it's like
right. Is it flat on top?
It's like the angle.
The angle.
Right, it's the angle because it's coming up the stairwell, with like a very sort of small lip on top where the door is, right? So it's like the up with a small flat area and then the door.
Okay.
And some nice little chimneys.
So the radio broadcast is down, yeah?
I
pulled it down last week. Okay.
You finished it.
The backside of this building, I came in the backside of this building.
Mm-hmm.
Was there a dumpster or some kind of trash heap?
That would be a fate point to have.
Can I buy one?
You can.
Great. I'm going to buy a trash heap for 1 fate point, please.
Please do. Would you like that to be a group fate point, or would you like that to be your personal?
No, the first one's going to come out of my biz.
Okay.
So there it is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So in the front of this apartment block, where all the Nazis have pulled up with their trucks, and they hey chat, guess what? The life expectancy of a wireless operator was like 6 weeks in occupied territories, because the Nazis were always on the lookout to find them, because
Regina's
that is
not a radio operator. She's a chemist and art historian.
So it's different.
He doesn't even qualify.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
It's gonna be fine.
It's gonna be fine.
So
so in the front they have pulled up and they're coming through. You can hear people shouting and like general a little bit of general chaos. But in the back of this apartment block, there's a sort of small alley. And this alley is like, it's a small one where people will throw out trash, right? Well, sort of people move in and out. That gives you a little bit of space between this one and like in another building. And in this little alley in the back of this apartment heap, there is a large trash, like a dumpster, full of garbage.
Okay.
Because of your fate point.
Great. I snatch the basket up, make sure, as I'm like running, I'm like stuffing the radio under the yarn. I've got my camera bag slung over me. This is gonna be crazy. As I'm running, I want to be like winding the yarn around the handle, so that when I get there, I can like lower it down to the trash heap, so that it's hidden in the bags or whatever the trash heap is, and then I'm gonna drop the yarn to go with it. Who gives a fuck if it's just yarn? And this is where it's gonna get really interesting.
You take your turn to do that. Meanwhile, the Nazis move up from the first floor to the second floor.
Cool.
Stomping, hitting doors, searching rooms.
Cool. I've got my book on me. I need it to be separate from the radio. I'm going to pop the book out, and the tiny little sliver of flat piece above the door, I'm going to slide it. I'm going to pull my weapon, and I'm going to slide them up there so they're just above eye height. That's my turn.
Your weapon and your book are... Do you know what would be really great right now?
No.
Do you know what would be really great right now? I feel like... I
have a plan, Trooper.
I feel like this. So, oh no, that's not even dramatic enough. We want this one. Here we go.
Oh no.
Yeah. So you slide the book and your gun, your pistol, right up there on this lip above it, and you push it perhaps a little bit further back so it's just not so obvious. And they move from the second floor to the third floor.
Cool.
And you can hear the boots getting closer. And you can hear shouts and rifling, and like they're clearly making a bit of a noise.
Right.
And you can hear it in the buildings next door and across.
Okay.
What do you do?
Her camera was on a tripod, yeah? Like looking over this picturesque view. Okay. Standing by this, I'm guessing it's like brick with like a shedish type top.
Yep.
Right? Okay. Regina goes, this is where it gets fucking tough. And she's going to put her hands on the wall and she's going to smash her face into the wall, doing damage to herself. And then she will promptly either pass out or fall to the side.
So let's talk about that for a moment.
Great.
I think I would like a will check from you.
I can do that.
I want a will check from you. Okay.
Agree.
All right. You, without hesitation smash your face against this brick wall. Other people might hesitate or maybe not be able to do it, but you can. You can do that. You smash your face. It's you know when you hurt yourself really badly and it tastes like electricity or
like iron.
Yeah. It's like it's that seeing stars. You take, if you don't mind, I would like you to take your lowest level harm. That's
okay.
That's a 2, right?
It's a stress, so right?
Oh, you're taking a consequence.
Oh, I'm taking a mild consequence. Okay,
you're taking
great,
a mild consequence.
Okay, the consequence of this being.
Your consequence is going to be, you have a I want to just call it busted face.
Perfect, just what I need before a party.
Just before a party, you've got a busted face.
I think I've got a friend that does makeup.
That's true. You do have a friend who has makeup.
Sylvie's gonna hook me up. I can feel it.
Your knees buckle, and you sort of collapse to the ground. And as you're lying there on the top of this apartment building, and you can feel blood, sort of, because head wounds bleed. You can feel blood just trickling down your face, and you can feel like the hot blood on the one side of your face, and kind of the coolness of the roof against your face on the other hand. And then it's their turn, and you hear them hitting the 4th floor of this building, and they are crashing through doors, and you can hear. Other people may not understand. At this point, you can hear what they're saying, and you can hear them sort of like asking people, like, what are they doing? And tossing things. And you know that it's only going to be, and you hear like, we should check the roof. And you know it's only a few moments before they get where you are. It's your last moment before they arrive.
Okay, what else do I have? Anything else? While I'm like probably seeing stars, I'm like, do I have anything else incriminating on me? What do I have? I have my German papers, because I would have to be a German art student to get away with any of this. So I'm good to make sure I still have those on me. There's nothing else incriminating in my bag. My ration cards. Yeah, that's it. I lay there on the cool ground and wait for the inevitable.
And then, and that moment, the door bursts open, and three Nazis come out onto the roof, and they're looking. And as they do, it's at this moment that you can also hear Nazis bursting onto the roof from other buildings around you as well. And one of them sort of comes out and goes and says in German, "Es gibt ein Mädel da." They're like, there's a woman there. And one of them sort of rushes over, and like 2 of them sort of point guns at you, and one of them sort of approaches you and sees blood on your face. And one of them grabs your arm and pulls you up to your feet and starts yelling at you in French, and is sort of yelling like, "Who are you? What's happened? What's going on here?"
In German. I say, "Nein, bitte, bitte, please. And as I'm bleeding and kind of laying there limp as they pick me up, do they lower guns?
They don't lower guns, but they don't. They're just trying to find out what's going on.
I say, he attacked me. He came up. I came up to take pictures, and I point.
Now, you have your camera?
I have my camera, my tripod. Art history book, and tripod, and then whatever bag I carry that in, I guess. If you need to know the additional contents of the bag, it includes a ration card, a cigarette case, a mirror, and a compact. An empty cigarette case at this point, probably.
And one of them says, "Who?"
American man.
I feel like you are trying to be deceptive right now. That is my feeling.
I am being deceptive.
No.
But I don't have deception.
I feel like you need to roll me a roll, my friends.
I do, just a flat
do.
out.
40F.
I got a 1.
That is a 1. I'm gonna roll mine. These are regular soldiers. They're not particularly exciting, so they have a 1 in their empathy. So we're gonna add a 1
crying.
to this. 2.
Damn.
They're beating
crying.
you by 1.
I can spend another fate point though.
You can spend fate points, but you've got. Oh no! Wait. Roll that back. You have a stunt, do you not?
I'm a good German.
You are a good German. And that gives you a +2 to your social rolls.
Which is good because I have more socializing skills.
Right? You get by on your German charm. So that puts you at a 3.
That's true. Okay.
Versus their 1.
2. I thought they got 2.
Yes, they did have a 2. That's puts you at a 3 versus their 2.
They got the 1, I got the 2, which got it.
Mm-hmm. And so they're looking at you, sort of suspicious, and I am going to spend one of my fate points to give them a bonus because I want to push at you just a little bit, and they're going to spend it because trust is dangerous. I'm going to spend one of mine, which puts them up at a 4 to your 3. You've not yet spent a fate point.
I have not.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say my papers in my bag, and I'll spend a fate point to start like crying and trying to convince them.
What aspect will you utilize?
I think I'm going to utilize. How do I want to do that? My high concept is almost there, but not really. You know what? I'm a burned German informant. I've watched Germans interrogate other people a lot. And I know that they have a soft spot, have a soft spot for women.
And maybe also, if you've seen a lot of interrogations, perhaps how to look less.
Navigate it. Okay. All right, that's what I'm going to use that on.
Spend it.
I have a question.
Yes.
Also, among Regina's things, does she still have that card on her?
Oh yes.
Yes, she does.
From the people.
Oh yeah.
Yes, she does.
I do. That I keep on me, but that's actually tucked in the blouse.
So now we've done our roles. Continue on. So they're like, "What are you doing here? What American?"
Man, I pictures. I was taking pictures. He burst up here, was running and sweaty. He had a box.
And he goes to turn to his compadre to say something in German, but then he remembers, like, it's like, oh, you actually speak German because you're not French. And he goes and he, like, so there's like a little, like, they're thrown a little bit off because they're used to seeing French people, so this was like a little bit strange for them. You can see that he's a little off his, and they're like, what did he look like?
American. He had that military cut. The hair, I obviously very not German, the American military cut, and just how disgusting to show the sides of your head that way. And that's how I pitch it.
And they're like, and then this guy, he's sort of like, he's got kind of like broad shoulders, and he looks young, this soldier. He's got sort of brown hair and green eyes, and he looks like looking at his rank, you can tell he's not a private. He seems like a sergeant, perhaps. He's not an officer, but he's gotten some rank, but he's still quite young. And he is the one who's in charge of this little group here that's up on the roof, and there are other people on the roof shouting, back and forth, like, clear here, clear there. And he looks at you, and he loosens his grip on your arm a little bit because he was holding it sort of roughly.
Right, kind of tight.
And he reaches into his pocket and he pulls out his handkerchief.
Oh.
And he just starts wiping the blood off of your...
I thank him profusely. Thank you so much. He smashed my head against the wall, and I'm sure there's like a blood stain on the brick.
And they say, and so they just dab, right? He just sort of kind of try to move your hair away from this, and like you look a little bit of a mess now, right? Because there's sort of blood. There's blood everywhere.
I might be swelling,
Yeah, and you're clearly beginning to bruise, right? Like this is going to leave a bruise. And he says, "Well, I'm going to have to look at your papers."
Of course. And I kind of, feign around, pull the papers out.
And the other one, who's like in the back, says, "Ask her where he went." And he's like, "Which way did he go?"
He jumped off the front of the building. I passed out before, and then I just heard your footsteps.
How long?
What time is it?
Oh, and they're like, "It's 12:15.
I left my apartment, and then I must have been out for about 5 minutes.
You will have to come with us. We'll have to ask you some questions.
Of course, anything.
But you will come with us. We will keep you safe."
Thank you.
He looks
Dirty
around.
Americans. I whisper under my breath.
He nods and he goes, and he points right this direction.
He was running. Are the roofs close?
They're close enough.
Close enough.
It would be a leap, right? You'd have to have pretty good athletics, but you could do it.
I say I was taking pictures of. Do I have a sight of the tower, of the Eiffel Tower?
Yes.
I was taking pictures of the flag flying above the Eiffel Tower, beautiful in the morning sun, and he came running and just jumped across.
So he came from a different building.
He did. That direction. I heard his footsteps, and by the time I turned, he was on the roof, and he came over and he told me.
Did you get a photo of him, perhaps?
I was pointed that direction. I don't think I did. I'm sorry.
Well, you will come with us. We will continue our search.
Of course.
Follow me.
May I get my camera?
Oh, we will take this. We will probably need it to see if perhaps he might have been captured on your photograph.
Oh, okay. I can. Would they let me walk over and pack it up and hand it off to them?
And they will walk with you, just to make sure.
Just to make sure. Mm-hmm. Do you think I could sleight of hand popping the back open to expose the film?
I'm gonna need some kind of a sleight of hand in there.
Because wait, so real question is, I developed the film last night with his face on it.
Yes, you did.
So that's out of the camera. This is all fresh film.
This is all fresh film.
Then I'm not worried about it. Nope, I packed the camera up, fuck this camera, and I hand it over.
I remember when you were like, "I'm going to stay up all night and develop this film."
This is, she covers her tracks. Okay, yeah, I cleaned that camera out. Okay, so cool.
So they and then he carries your camera for you.
Thank you. I swoon.
And he will put his arm around your waist and sort of keep you sort of up. And then he will sort of take you through. And as you're walking down through this building, you can see some of the doors are still open. And you can see there are a couple of, usually in pairs, right? Some pairs of soldiers going through people's goods, going through their drawers, taking things out of drawers, knocking things over, looking through, because they know they think there's probably a radio in here somewhere.
Right.
And they're asking people, who are you? What are you doing here? Look at your papers. And you can see all these people just sort of sitting there as their life is being just upended through this sort of moment. And they're taking you down, and he's so gentle as he's taking you down these stairs.
Right.
I
might even trip when give into it.
Oh yeah, and he's very careful with you. And meanwhile, you can see them grabbing other people in this building who are French, and they're just got them by the collar and pushing them down the stairs, rounding them up to see what kind of information they have. Some of the people in this building, they've had some contraband. They had maybe a bottle of alcohol they shouldn't have had. There are people who are just regular people trying to survive, but people get things in the black market all the time because there's no food, and they're being rounded up. People maybe who their papers are expired, who don't have anything, so people are being rounded up in this neighborhood. As you sort of get down onto the street, you see this sort of these vans, and there's just some sort of French people sort of being rounded up and moved on into this sort of these vans as these soldiers are looking, and they're sort of looking up and down. And when he comes out, you can see like a lieutenant come out and say like, "What's going on here?" I'm like, "Oh," and he explains, "Oh, she's a German," and he says, her name is Leixner, and she's and he looks to you because he realized he didn't actually ask.
I'm so sorry. I'm a German art student, I say.
German art student, and she saw the man who was radio broadcasting, I think. And they're like, "Oh."
He hit me, and I removed the like pressure I've been putting on my head to reveal the horrific wound on my beautiful face.
Oh, so terrible.
I sob and cover it in shame.
Oh no. I'm like, "Oh, well, we'll have to bring you in for questioning. Perhaps you can be helpful."
Of course.
And they put you in they have you on the street waiting a little bit as people sort of get sort of pulled out in and out. And it's not too long. You have it's maybe like 15 minutes as people are still sort of in a bit of chaos. When a car pulls up, like a nice car, and you're sort of like,
I walk,
Fräulein?
I say.
No. Please. And they usher you into a car, so you're not in a truck with all sorts of
great
heathens, French people.
Okay.
And they put you in the back of this nice car, and this lieutenant sort of gets in, and they sort of drive you off. Meanwhile, at this point in time, Sylvie's waiting for you to arrive at the club before she goes off to see Jeanette, and you do not arrive. She makes her way off to Jeanette by herself and she doesn't know where you are. At the moment, you are being driven off to military intelligence headquarters. And you are taken into this building. And as you go through, and probably at this moment there are soldiers sort of looking at the roofs of the various sort of buildings to see if there's anything there, looking to see what they can find. And I'm going to just make a little bit of a roll as you are sort of brought in. A -3. That's a -3. Interesting. Soldiers are searching for anything of use and of note in this area, combing with great precision and competency of a -3. They are looking for any kind of hidden objects that might give them information about.
But at a -3.
But at a -3.
They have no idea what they're looking for, right, Trooper?
Which is, I believe, that is a catastrophic search, is what that is. That is, if you think like you could be average or excellent or legendary, their searching skills are catastrophic. And so this sort of these Germans are searching through, and they don't even think to go into the alley in back of the apartment complex. And that said, you go, are sort of brought into this great hotel, and you're brought up into a room. And as you walk in, you see all sorts of people sort of sitting, waiting to be questioned. Some people have got a yellow star on. There are clearly some people who also have got other marks, and you have some people who are Roma. You have some people who are clearly Jews that are waiting to be questioned. You have some people who are just everyday people waiting, and you're brought right up to the front of the line. You don't have to wait, and you're sort of brought in to this beautiful office. It used to be a hotel room with a wonderful desk, large oak desk. It's fine, a dark wood, and in this office there's like a sort of an antique globe that's beautiful. There's a nice sort of a little bar, right, with like a decanter of alcohol. The place is wonderful, and on the wall there's like a beautiful painting that's there, and it's you give me your history.
Ooh.
I believe you have academics, I think it is.
Do
yes?
have academic history.
Mhm.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, a 4.
Mm-hmm.
That's my first 4 of the game, ladies and gentlemen.
That is great. That is excellent. And as you're looking at this, and this lieutenant sort of drops you off there and he goes, Fräulein, have a seat here, please. And I will get you a glass of water. You will be waiting for an interview in for 1 moment. And he brings you this sort of glass of water. And he says, stay here for just a few seconds, as a colonel will be here shortly. And
And I quickly sit.
And he steps out of the room, and you have perhaps a few seconds as you see this painting. And this painting, you look at it, and it is, you would say, Flemish, one of the Flemish masters. Nothing like, probably a minor painter, nothing super famous, but it is something that probably should be in a museum and not in the office of.
Does it belong in France, or has it been moved in?
It's a good question. You don't know its provenance. In all likelihood, it probably belonged to an art collector, and probably a Jewish art collector.
Who was here first?
Yeah.
And they procured this.
And they procured it.
Along with the location. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. They moved in and they kept the art. You have but a few moments.
What else is in the room? What's on the desk?
On the desk, you have got a calendar, like a little calendar, like a little date book. You've got the file itself. You've got not the file. You've got like the desk itself with drawers. The desk itself is awfully clean. It seems like whoever is in this office is probably a little bit anal retentive about keeping everything sort of. And of course, nothing is as out of place.
It's meticulous. It's meticulous.
And there was like 3 little pens, right, that are right in a row, all sort of lined up. And there is, so like everything is off the desk.
I'm guessing there's like some drawers.
Oh, yes.
Quick, I just want to pop them and like, do any of them, are they all locked?
Just the top one, but the ones on the side are not.
What's in it?
On the ones on the side, you have got a few moments and you look through.
Right.
You've got files, right? So and it seems like you've got a bunch of files sitting there with names in both of them. It seems to be what you have mostly. Mm-hmm. And you've got names of people, but they seem to be code names. You've got, because they don't seem like real people, you've got sometimes places, you've got things that might be sort of operation names. You've just got like a little list of names you have sort of fleeting by.
In my German prodigy brilliance, mm-hmm. I want to try to like take as much of a direct inventory as I can of like names, mm-hmm. locations, like in the fastest flip, like mm-hmm. the important stuff, mm-hmm. Even mission names, and just record it, mm-hmm. shut it, and for shits and giggles, I'm gonna slide one of those pins off, and I'm gonna pocket it so he only has 2, and I'm gonna go sit down again.
And you sit down right as the door opens, and
I turn with a little start,
and in walks your very good friend, Colonel Helmut Wilhelm Falke, the head of German military intelligence, steps into the office.
I try to stand and say his name and greet him.
And he goes,
the German way.
Well, interesting to see you here. And he walks around and he sits down right in front of his desk. Meanwhile, over at the party, well, at the chateau, Jules, you're there with Tango, and you are sort of hauling heavy objects. And as you're sort of doing this, you notice a large contingent of Nazi soldiers show up. And these are Nazi soldiers, not just regular members.
SS?
Yeah. SS soldiers walk up and they come in, and there's like a large number of them, and they start sort of checking out the space. It feels to you like there's a bit of a tension, like they're coming in as if the army who's supposed to be doing all this is not good enough in some way. It makes you feel like there is a larger this is a bigger party perhaps than you might have thought, and there's a bit of a hubbub and like, oh, what's going on, and you notice Tango's a little bit farther away from you, Jean-Claude, and one of the there's like a bit of a discussion amongst officers in the corner, and one of them sort of and you don't know this man at all, but there's a young German soldier, sort of military, who's talking to one of the SS and points to Tango. And one of the SS officers nods, and they walk over to Tango and they start talking to him. And then he is sort of basically taken, and then the Gestapo sort of point out a couple of other people, all of whom are white. And they sort of just point out a couple of them, and they pull them away, and it looks like they're going to be sort of taken on some other sort of work detail. It's a little unclear, but they're sort of they're put into a truck, and they're driven off-site, leaving you alone at the chateau. They weren't under guard, like they were not sort of being taken at gunpoint. And it seemed as if it might have been a work detail. It looks like that, but they were sort of pulled off. A couple of people were pulled off from this site and sort of taken somewhere else, leaving you without your compatriot.
Well, maybe Jules will not ask the soldiers directly what's happening. He'll look at them and think twice about that. But maybe he'll ask somebody else, like Luc. I say, Luc, where are they going?
I don't know. How would I know?
Doesn't see if anybody else knows. He'll look around. Anybody?
So in this space, you've got a couple of people that seem interesting to look at. You've got this sort of the main party planner, who is seems like a German military low-level officer who seems to be organizing everything. They're army, not SS, and they don't seem to be in a good mood at this point in time. They seem a little pissed, and they seem frustrated. And because as you can tell, there seems to be a lot of work that needs to happen, and there's not a lot of hours to do it in, and they've just lost people. And the Gestapo are not leaving, so that seems a little bit distressing to this. So there's like this person seems frustrated about that. And then you have just all of these sort of, you have a lot of soldiers around just making sure everything is sort of keeping safe. And then you have this sort of new crew of SS who've come in with more trucks. And then you have some, so you've got like a lot of low level sort of military people and these new SS folks coming in, and all of your sort of workers, plus your main party planner. And you also have, you can see in just give me an awareness is what I need.
An awareness?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to need.
Okay. Yeah, an awareness. Fine. I'll find that. An awareness?
We probably don't have it.
Wait a sec. No, I don't have that.
Yeah. Give me a 40.
Roll an ordinary dice. Okay.
Yes, please.
Yeah, fine. That's a 0.
It's a 0. You don't notice anything beyond sort of the kind of obvious things, right? The person who's in charge, who is not a super high-ranking officer, all of their sort of crew that's mostly making sure that you all don't steal things, and are keeping that you're doing what you're supposed to do, sort of coordinating, and then these new SS people plus all of the workers. You don't notice anything above and beyond that, and those are the kind of the obvious things to note.
Yeah, I'm just keeping a low profile, not trying not to make eye contact with these maniacs. And because we know what happens when that happens. So just trying to be
unless you want to spend a fate point to give yourself a boost somehow.
Oh. Well, look, I have a couple of questions before I get into this.
Please.
The first question would be, I'm just wondering, did Jules bring his pistol?
Did you?
Well, the question would be,
would you bring a gun with you to this work detail?
And under any circumstance, no. Like if they're searching us. But what I know happened with Jules yesterday night. is that he learned that his mom is being humiliated by these Nazis. So he may have been tempted this morning, rationally, irrationally. I'd say rationally. Some people, whatever. He might have been tempted to, as he was taking some bread out the bread box, to grab that gun. But if he knows that they're doing searches,
you don't know. Did you bring it?
But I mean, he knows the drill. Like,
I mean, he's never been pulled on for one of these work details.
No, but no, he wouldn't have taken it. But he would have been.
But you could if you'd like to.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I'm just saying, if you want to have the gun on you, I wouldn't say no.
Oh, I see.
I mean, if you think he would have brought it,
I think he might have been tempted to do that because he's young and a bit dumb
and a little angry
and quite angry.
Yeah,
and he's reached a boiling point where he's like, you know what? In his fantasy, in his head, if he gets the chance, he's gonna whip it out and shoot that guy in the head.
Yeah,
and that's just a fantasy.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then there's the fact that it's his father's gun.
Yeah.
He doesn't know if his father was a hero or some kind of, just some brutish soldier.
Yeah.
And he wants to prove himself a hero. So
where is it?
That's the question. See, where would you put a gun if you knew the place was crawling with Nazi soldiers?
Yeah.
That's a great question. He would, I'm thinking, I thought about this a bit. And I'm thinking he might have it between his legs.
Should have strapped in?
Strapped on one of his thighs here, right up. He would have tied it there with a scarf.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple of scarves just to keep it in place.
Yep.
It's tricky.
Yeah.
But he would have tried that.
Okay.
Maybe if it has a holster, then he could have just, tied it around.
And you've got you're wearing kind of like baggy pants at the time, and this is like the style at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so at this point, he would be very nervous about having it on him. He would have sweat trickling in his back and looking at all these guys, and he would want to plant it somewhere where he could grab it and shoot that guy if he wanted to. Like if there's a flower pot or something. So that's what he's kind of thinking about. And the second thing I'm wondering is his loyalty to his organization. He's part of La Résistance.
Yeah.
So how rogue would that be? That's something maybe, what do they want him? What do they want him to do? Do they want him to get intelligence? Or is he just free to do what he wants and he has to kind of help these people out?
Yeah.
That's the big question.
So here's the thing. At this moment, all of these resistance cells are atomized and not overly coordinated yet. De Gaulle has not been able to really sort of bring things together on that side, and England's trying to do their bit. So what you have are a lot of really disconnected groups trying to do their best, and the coordination's not great.
Right.
You've been pulled into this job, but you know that this is a party that you're going to want to, that your group's going to want to try to get into. You know that they're going to try to get invitations at least. But you don't know, and you're the only one that knows that this is a degenerate art party. You know there's going to be art there, but now you know what kind of an art party this is going to be. It seems to you that there's something more going on at this party because security is really tight for a party. That seems a little odd to you. So the question is, what do you think would be the best thing for you to do?
Okay, well, like purely professionally speaking, Jules would think, okay, Résistance, this is a great option to get intelligence, infiltrate, and get into a position where I can just relay information to people in the organization. If you got the head of intelligence here, if you can be like his butler or something like that, boom, you're in,
Mhm.
and the whole organization benefits. So he's kind of weighing this kind of individual bloodlust
Mhm.
against his loyalty, and he's a soldier, so he does
Yeah.
have discipline. So
Mm.
yeah, he's kind of weighing the two options, wondering if he's going to stay loyal here. He's been asked to dress up as a pickaninny for this party,
Yes. Yeah.
and he's like, he feels like he might have had enough of this whole rational resistance. Yeah. So
You're pondering this, and as you are, one of the this party planner, this lieutenant, and he's sort of thin. This lieutenant, he doesn't look. He looks sort of thin, but he's got this like large scar on his face, and it kind of looks. It goes right across here and across to his nose. It's a bit of a slight curve, and it looks a little ugly. This scar just kind of comes across this way, sort of makes him look decidedly not particularly handsome. He's got a weak chin, this guy, and he walks over to you. And he goes, "You don't just stand around. Move things. We don't have time for this. We have a party to get together. Everyone's going to be here. What are you just standing around for?" And he was the one that told you that you were maybe picked to be a waiter. This is the guy that's in charge, and he's clearly agitated, and he seems more upset. And Levi's correct. These are Nazi fencing scars. And sometimes, like, I think you want, like, when you want a big ostentatious fencing scar, you want one that makes you look great. Like maybe preferably like one on your cheek. That's pretty good. Good handsome one. He did not get a good handsome one because, when you're playing with swords to try to get scars on your face, sometimes they don't look good. And he has one that does not look particularly good. And he's stressed. And he comes up and he's like, "You have to move. We don't have much time. We only have a few hours left. Everybody's gonna be arriving soon. The food, everything."
Of course, monsieur. Schnell, schnell. And he picks up the pace.
And he sort of directs you to one of these new trucks that have come in with the SS. He sort of points you to that one. And he pulls somebody else to come with you. He gets Luke. And when you go to this truck in the back, and there are these two trucks, and they open up the truck, and the SS is there, and the SS is there with rifles, and they're on edge. Inside these two trucks are these crates. They are sort of wide, long, but not particularly, like they're not square. They look like they could be crates that could hold lots of canvases, for example. All crated up. And he's like, "Your job is to go and take these crates, put them into the ballroom." And they're also like flats.
Okay. So hop into the back there and pick up one of those cases and start pushing it towards Luke.
And Luke takes the other end because they're pretty heavy. And Luke has a bad attitude. He just feels like this is beyond, like, he does not want to be here, and he's irritated, right? But like he's keeping quiet. But you can also see he's looking.
I'll give him a wink. Yeah.
You can see he's looking for anything to steal. Like you can tell he's just like, "What can I steal?" But at the moment, they're keeping him so busy. And as you're taking this crate into this ballroom, you've got the party planner, and you can hear him sort of complaining in German to this sort of SS officer who's there. And when you go into the ballroom, you can see these crates are sort of being set up, and there are these other people are sort of setting up sort of on the edges of the ballroom, like little mini walls. Like you have to sort of set them up yourself. They're not thick walls, but walls where you can hang basically art. And if you open up one of the crates because they want you to, there's all of this amazing, beautiful artwork in these crates. And as you start unloading these crates, soldiers with guns are there to make sure that nothing gets stolen or injured, and they want you to hang up all of this art in this ballroom. And once the art comes out, everybody's really tense. The Germans are very tense, and this party planner is exceptionally tense because they want it to be perfect. And they want to make sure nothing is damaged because they also think that you're stupid and they think that you might damage the art.
Yeah, and I'm going to kind of, use that against them, act a bit, stupid, and try to make them a bit nervous about what I'm doing.
They are.
As some kind of passive-aggressive thing.
Can I get
I almost dropped it.
Can I get I feel like this is deception or provoke, I think.
It's gonna be...
I think it's a provoke is what I think you're doing at us.
Really?
Yes.
It's so French.
Mm-hmm.
Provoke. I do not have this skill.
Roll a d4 for me. -1.
God.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna roll for our party planner. A 1. So you are this is, unless there's anything you want to do to bump that, is my question for you.
Fate
point.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. What is your justification for that?
Okay, let me see.
Mm-hmm.
Good at escaping detection when passing myself off as labor.
You're provoking him.
I thought I was trying to hide the fact that it was provoking.
Oh no, this is an attack. This is an attack. We are in a conflict at this moment.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Okay.
And
That's so easy with you, Trooper.
It's, this is just we're in a,
we just rolled right into that.
we're in a little bit of a combat. A little bit of a combat.
A combat.
He doesn't realize he's in a combat with you, but you're in a combat with him.
Just a little.
Just a little combat.
So I don't know what I can use here.
I feel like you could maybe evoke your mixed race Frenchman to sort of.
That's a trouble aspect.
Oh, but I think you can still evoke it because the point being that he would then believe that you are incompetent.
Oh.
Troubled aspects go both ways.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. Well, then he'll give him his best, stupid Frenchman smile.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Something he saw in some German movie.
Spend a fate point for me.
That's fate points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know why I have 2 of them.
Because you had one for extra.
Oh. There, it's spent.
We have to delete it now.
How do I do that?
I got it for you. There you go. I got it.
Okay.
So you are now tied with him. You are tied, which means you don't actually get to do damage to him, but you do get a boost on him. So you now have an advantage over him that you can use anytime throughout the rest of the scene, and that is you have got him. We're gonna put his.
He's nervous.
Yeah, he's nervous, and this means that at any point in time where his nervousness can be used, and this is a free evoke, so like you don't have to spend a fate point on this one. And this guy here is Dietmar, Lieutenant Dietmar Opelt.
Mm-hmm.
And he currently is nervous. So at any point in time where that nervousness can be used to your advantage, you've got a free evoke on him right there, a little free boost.
Okay.
Because you've made him nervous. And you can tell that
I just give him a dumb smile, and chuckle.
and like as you do that, sweat is just going down his face. And he's like, this art is very expensive. You probably wouldn't know anything about good art.
It's expensive, but it's not even so heavy.
Oh! And he's like, no. And he points at 2 other people, and he gets them to start hanging. He's like, you should move things that are less heavy. Why don't you...
What about the flowers?
Yes. I want you to... We have some exotic flowers from... I don't know, probably where you're from. Where are you from? Morocco? I don't know where you're from. I don't know. Something like this. Just move them. Also, we have some more... Oh, just please, don't touch the art. Oh, stupid French. And he just like starts like insulting you, using some German slur words for people of color. And you're like,
Just take and lick your finger and just be like, oh no, I'll clean the art right up. Just
And he sort of pushes you away from the art a little bit. And he's like, you can take the empty... I know what you can do. I want you to take these empty crates, and I want you to store them upstairs.
Okay.
There's a closet upstairs, and I want you to store them there.
Yes, mein Herr.
And it's like you are hauling these now empty crates up. Sort of you are sort of taken out of the ballroom, and there's like a stairwell upstairs to the sort of the second floor of this chalet, and there's like a closet up there, and where you can sort of store these crates, so they can be then. And like as you're doing, you're like, okay, this is where they're storing, right? This sort of the crates for the art later. I need awareness from you.
Yeah. I'm wondering if this is a good place to stash my gun. And awareness. Here we go. It's a 3.
Yes.
Okay.
So as you're up here, it's quiet, right? There's not a lot. There's not a lot of people up here, and you're sort of stacking. You're like the only one who's like moving these sort of empty crates, and you've got like your hammer, right? And like you've got to open these things up, and you're storing them up here in this kind of a large closet. It's a small, maybe it's not even really a closet, but perhaps like a sitting room at one point, and you're sort of moving things in there. And as you're doing that, you can just you're hearing things. You hear the sounds of people moving, the sounds of trucks outside, somebody barking orders, that guy, Dietmar. And as you're just sort of taking in the sounds, you hear the sound of weeping up here on the second floor.
Weeping?
Oh,
yeah.
In one of the rooms up here.
I'll try to sneak over to the door, see if it's open, see if he can peek. If it's not open, he will look through the keyhole, if it's possible. So,
and you look in there through this keyhole, and there's a woman, and she's beautiful but pale. She is dressed for the party tonight, it seems, and her hair is being done up. She's not alone. Someone is doing her hair at the moment. But for all the beauty, she's got sort of dark black hair, and it's being sort of put up in that sort of 40s style. And she's in this sort of brilliant emerald green dress. And she's sitting right in front of her mirror. You can't, she's got her back to you, but you can see her in the mirror, and someone's doing her hair. And she looks beautiful, except that her eyes are haunted, and she looks miserable, right? She just looks miserable as she's sort of weeping silently as her hair is being done up in advance of this party.
So she's not alone.
No, there's a it looks like a maid, perhaps, or someone is doing her hair. Looks like a woman in a maid's outfit.
And they're not talking really.
No. It's kind of solemn,
Should she look high class?
She does.
Yeah, quite high class. Out of Jules' league.
She looks high class. She looks fancy, and she looks miserable.
Miserable but beautiful.
Yeah.
French, possibly.
She looks French to you.
Yeah.
She doesn't look Aryan. Let's put it. She doesn't look like a high German. She doesn't look like Regina at all.
Okay. Well, I'll take note, I guess, and he's going to look for a place to hide his pistol.
You got a good awareness roll. You're looking around in this hallway, right? There's this hallway here, and there's sort of like sitting room where all the crates are going. And as you're sort of looking around in this hallway, a couple of things stand out to you. One, is there's a small vase right on one of the sort of like in the corner, and you think you could easily hide your gun there in this vase. And it's also close to the stairway, so if you had to rush up, you wouldn't have to go very far in. Like you could just go up, get to that vase. But right next to the vase, there's a painting, and the painting is a portrait of a family, a man, woman, son, daughter, probably, and like also a dog. It's one of those sort of like family portraits. And you recognize the daughter as that woman in the room weeping.
Oh, I see. Interesting. Okay, he will put his pistol, he'll hide his pistol in this vase, and he'll go up to this door of this woman and knock softly.
And then there's a little bit of the to do, right? And you hear in French, one moment, and there's just a little bit of rustling, and then the maid opens the door, and you can see the woman there in the green dress. She's clearly sort of wiped her face to look a bit more presentable, and they seem to be expecting someone different than you. And they both are taken aback by seeing a laborer right there and sort of in front of them. And the maid sort of says, "Oh, oui, may I help you?"
And Jules will remove his hat and hold it against his his chest, just like a laborer would do. And he'll look. He said, "I'm sorry, madame. I'm very sorry. I heard somebody crying, so I thought there might be trouble."
Oh, she sort of gives you that smile that doesn't reach her eyes because she's not actually feeling. It's supposed to comfort you to say that everything is okay, but everything is clearly not okay. And she says, "Oh, I'm just a woman. I sometimes get flights of fancy. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Why wouldn't it be?"
This is your castle, madame?
It was. I have been given the honor of being able to attend a party in my home, my former home.
Well, it might be your home again someday.
We can only hope.
Remember, as our great writer Clemenceau once said, "In war as in peace, those who never give up have the last word."
Wait, she says, as if you were going to go. Like it was like one of these things where she was like there's like this moment where she's like, she didn't want you to leave, even though it didn't seem like you were just about to go. She says, "What is your name?"
My name is Jules.
Jules. They have you working here?
Yes, they brought me here to hang the art.
Where are you
What
from?
is your name, madame?
Oh, Lisette Dumont. This is my chateau. Well, my parents.
I hope, just so you know, madame, I hope that tonight is very important for France. I want you to know this. What you are doing is important for us.
And I'm sure
just trying to make her feel better about this.
And she, like, you can tell that she says
about her sacrifice in a way. Yeah.
She says, and she sort of like comes forward a little quickly, and she just kind of grabs your sleeve, and she says, "No matter what anyone says, I am not a collaborator. And the maid just kind of looks like, what are you saying? And she says, I am here, but I have to be.
And he looks at her, as if he believes her. He looks at her in the eyes, which is probably not done so much, but he does look at her in the eyes and nods. And before that can last too long, he'll look down and turn away and put his hat back on.
And you walk away, and you can tell like that she's like this bird in a gilded cage, right? Like she is what makes this seem legitimate, right? When the woman of this house introduces this party, then it will seem as if this is not an occupation. It will seem as if everyone is getting along so well. And it makes her feel a little bit better, it seems to you, that one of her countrymen, said something kind to her in this moment. Or at least that she could say somehow that this was not what she wanted. And her maid sort of tries to get her back into the room.
She will nod. He understands. I'm sure he's had moments like this before where people who are very high up confide in him because he's very low down. So,
like, you're safe to talk to in that way.
Exactly. Yeah. So he'll nod thoughtfully, and he'll get back to work.
I'm going to ask you a question. You are a little unsupervised at the moment. Is there anything you want to do in advance of this party?
Run free. At all.
Hide weapons.
He had a weapon. He already had one.
Okay, good. Okay, I'm feeling better about that.
I hid a pistol.
Knock over a plant.
Basically, you were
in a corner.
Like you're in the back part of the house. Do you know what I mean? Like you are in a bit of the space. You have
You're the perfect scout. You're the perfect scout.
You have
that's it.
You have a little bit of free space.
The idea would be to explore a bit and try to see if I can find anything useful. I guess, the first thing you think about in situations like this is how the hell do I get out of here if this shit goes?
Yes.
Yeah. So that would be his next.
Give me a stealth roll.
Okay. As he pretends, he pretends to be working.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Oh my god.
Oh, okay. Now that's a 5. Wow. However,
I didn't know you could even roll. Okay, because I got a +1.
Yep.
However,
cartwheels down the hall.
You also get because that's that +1 is for your stealth, yeah. But you also get a +2 because of your stunt. That when you are sort of stealthing around looking like a laborer, people kind of just don't pay attention to you. So you kind of look a little lost, or a little bit like you've got things to do, and you wander around the entire estate, very carefully, stealthily avoiding the party planner so that he cannot pull you in to do other work, right? And then like whenever there's somebody who's like pulling people to do jobs, you just happen to not be there, right? You just...
I'm only there when he wants art moved.
You're only there when he wants art moved.
I'm like...
Oh, no. And he's like, no, not you, right? And it's funny because he's like, and he's like, can you even hold a tray, right? So you are just able to sort of move through this entire estate and get, and it's not like you're sneaking like this. You're just kind of wandering around and people think you're supposed to be there.
Yeah.
This is,
first goal would be guard positions, escape route. And then second goal for the club would be to locate the champagne.
Now, I'm going to call this, by the way, a create advantage is what I'm going to call this. So you can place an aspect on this estate.
Nice.
Right?
Okay.
With 2 free invokes. And so this is like your sort of scouting around, and you can do something like knows the lay of the land, right? Or mapped in your mind.
Okay.
You can have like an aspect so that if you wanted to get, for example, a way out quickly, right? You can invoke that to help you get an advantage on that. Like you can sort of frame it how you want, but I'll say that for example, you find the wine cellar, you find a back door that's very rarely used, that doesn't seem to be where any, like off near the kitchens. You can find a way out that you can then just leave unlocked. Right, so you're like, okay, and you're like, oh, and there's like a beautiful, in the back there's a beautiful garden with a hedge maze, right? You know how like it's yeah, it's one of those chalets that has this beautiful sort of French garden sort of in the back that you would have in an estate, and there's like a beautiful hedge maze there.
Okay, now you're saying chalet, but you mean chateau.
I do, I mean a chateau, pardon me. It is a chateau.
Okay, good. I'll put that down. Nose.
And I'm gonna give you. Let's call this. You know the chateau.
I know the chateau.
Like the back of your hand.
Okay.
And you can invoke this twice for free.
Okay.
That is and so you can like leave a back door open, right? You can sort of, that can be a thing that you want to spend one of your evokes on to say, oh, that back door is open. So at any moment you can be like, that's the back door I left open, or here's a way, I know a way through the hedge maze. You've got two free opportunities there. And this is one of these moments where you're like, okay, so there's this hedge maze here in this chateau. There's a little sort of a place where people might meet, and you're looking at where are they sort of setting up this party, where are they not. It looks to you like they are setting up, and as you're scoping it, right? They're setting up security on the main route into this place, like checkpoints. It seems to you like they're expecting something big, because they're clearly setting up a lot of security for people coming in and out. But you also notice that there are ways in which you could probably, like, there's a bit of perhaps there's a gap, right, in one of the sort of the walls to a different estate. Like you could probably find your way out.
Oh, good.
Back route. So you're mapping all of that out while other people are carrying heavy items.
And I pretend to help them now and then.
Yeah, and you pretend to help now and then.
When somebody's looking, yeah.
And that said, while you are sort of doing this and sort of taking the lay of the land, and you're seeing this sort of ballroom being basically transformed into an art gallery of sorts. You can see just a little bit more SS show up in advance of this party. Just a little bit more in advance.
I'm going to look at Luke at some point.
And Luke just looks guilty.
He looks guilty?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I say,
because you look at him and he just the minute you look at him, he looks a little guilty.
I was going to sigh, Luke. What have you done?
Nothing.
Come on, Luke.
And he
now look at him, like, give him a hard look.
And he just sort of like opens up his he's wearing like a jacket, and he opens up the jacket, and he's got a silver candlestick that he's got in the back of his pants, and he's like,
oh, okay, yeah. Be very careful.
See me, you didn't like yell at him. He goes back to lifting. Sylvie, you're back at the club.
I am.
And actually, no, I can't go back to you yet. I have to finish this. Regina,
I was thinking something needed to happen.
Yeah, I have to do that first.
I expected you to wait till the end like last time.
No. Regina, you can smell the French men's cologne before Helmut walks in. And he sees you, and of course, when he sits down across the desk, and he looks at you, and he says, Fräulein.
I kind of, oh, wait, I'm weak. It is coincidental, is it not?
Don't believe in consequences. I'm gonna just need a general deception from you right now to get,
Great.
just to see how we're doing with you all.
I mean, I'm bleeding still. Well, I have a wound.
You do have a wound, and you are a good German.
And I am a good German.
He also has a very good empathy. I'm gonna roll. He's got a 3.
Damn it!
He's got a 3.
Plus the 2 that I get for being a good German.
Mm-hmm.
But that only puts me at a 0.
To his 3. What would you like to do about that?
You know what? It's time to fuck up, Juno. I drop the act.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, yeah! That's the reaction I was looking for. Okay. All right. This was a good choice then. Okay. I drop the act and I say, I pull his card.
Mm-hmm.
And I put it on the table. I still play into the wound.
Yeah.
But I say, I was doing as you asked. I was following an American. I followed him to a roof, and we got into an altercation. He smashed my head against a brick wall and ran. I'm pretty sure I saw him using a radio.
I see.
Some of that is true.
Some of that is true. That is correct. That is correct.
Some of that is true.
He looks at you. This is where we're going to need our deception versus empathy one more time.
I don't have any deception. Okay.
He's got a 1. No, that's plus a 3. That's a 4.
3 is 4.
Yeah.
But I'm a good German.
You are.
Okay, I'm a good German, so that's 2.
So that's 3 versus his 4.
3 versus 4. And you know what?
Mm-hmm.
I know this. Okay, this is where we get to know Regina. I'm going to spend a fate point. I know that this might endanger my friends, but I plot first and friends later.
That's true, you do.
And this is a plot moment to get my ass out of trouble.
Okay.
And, yeah. I plot first, friends later.
Did you spend that fate point?
I did. I pulled it and erased it.
All right.
Yeah, I did. It was up here.
Yes. And so he says to you, he looks at you. He says, this American, who is he? One of the Americans from your bar?
No. Far too obvious. Honest.
Okay. Who's this American? Where did you find him? Where did you follow him from?
All right, I gotta think how I want to play this. The train station. Which end of town is it on?
This one was Central Paris. So, it's sort of south of you.
Okay.
I'm thinking of a map of Paris right now.
Would there be like a place where a good German might hang out around there?
Right now, it's all everywhere because they're taking
everywhere.
over
Perfect.
everywhere.
So it's not. It would not be suspicious for me to be in that area necessarily. Okay. I say I was on the south side basically.
Right, yeah. Like one of these cafes.
Yeah, one of these cafes. In the evening, past curfew. Not a good German. And I saw him on the street. He was running. I made note of him. He darted into the back, and not moments later, a bunch of troops ran by, seeking him out. And so,
German or French? Troops.
I think back to the train station. Who was seeking? It was German troops, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was at the train station.
Yeah.
It was German troops. Trust me, I know.
When was this?
Was that 2 nights ago?
It was last night.
Last night. Last night. And so I followed him. And he was dumb enough to be visible the next morning in a cafe trying to hide his hair or lack thereof. And I, again, gesture this military cut.
Was he alone?
Yes, until he picked up a package.
From whom? Wait, don't say any more. And he calls out to his lieutenant outside, and this lieutenant comes in. He says, "Bring in the artist and also someone to take notes." And he says, just wait.
Great.
It's
You know
not
what?
very
And
long.
I know this is not a. Could I smoke? It's been a very long day. I point to the wound. She needs it right now if she's gonna lie her way out of this.
It's not very ladylike for good German women to smoke.
It is true. It has been a long morning.
Oh. Well, please.
I light up an already lit, partially smoked cigarette and light it up in front of him, and I again thank him.
He says, cigarette does not seem to be the best quality.
We all have our flaws.
Oh, that's too bad. You know, we have access to better quality cigarettes for our friends.
I appreciate that. I think I'd rather just go home.
One moment. And then in come two people, a woman and a man. And the woman is dressed sort of like in a smart sort of business suit with a skirt. And she sits down and she starts taking stenography. And the other man comes in with a sort of like a pad of paper and a art pencil. It's like, what I'm looking for then from you is for you to explain in great detail what this American looked like. We have other descriptions, perhaps, and if we can match your description with this one, that would be very useful.
Of course. And I try to think back and play it up.
Mm-hmm. Tell me, how accurately do you describe Mustang?
I don't describe Mustang.
Mm-hmm.
I describe a mix between Mustang and Tango.
I was about to say this being some horrific combination of the two of them.
Yeah, it's Regina's worst nightmare of an American. The perfect mixture. The actual shipping of Tango
and Mustang.
I describe, of course, the haircut, but I describe like Tango's build, which is a bit stockier, right? But I describe the like quaintness of his face and features a little bit more like our youngling here, and just kind of back and forth until it turns into some caricature version of a fucking American.
I imagine also just in my mind her getting more and more angry as she's describing this too.
Yeah, and I eventually like put my cigarette out,
And he looks as we will compare this with other information we have been given. If it is useful, that will be very good for you. Now, I need you to explain to me what you were doing on the roof. One more time.
I had followed him to that end of town. I had a hankering of where he was going after he received the package, and I'm a photographer, so I thought I'd get some proof. So I set up on the roof waiting for him to pass by, and he didn't pass by on the street level. He jumped across the roof and seemed a bit unnerved that I had a camera.
Now,
and he attacked me.
This is going to be a social attack against you. This is going to be a provoke. He's a provoke of 3. That's a 0. I need you to respond with, let's say, your will to keep your cool and to keep yourself consistent.
Okay. I clicked it. Did it roll?
No, it doesn't want to answer. It's like, I can't do it.
Roll 20, a 2.
Okay,
I got a 2.
Okay.
What did he get?
He got a 0 because he rolled very, very poorly. Very poorly.
This has worked out in my favor. All of this bad planning.
You are going to get a boost on him because you succeeded by 2. You beat him by 2 in this this little minor combat, as it were. And we're going to say, hey there, Regina, you have a boost. And that is... He thinks you are...
He thinks I'm working for him. What a dumbass.
Thinks you are on his side.
On his side.
Let's say in his pocket.
In his... Oh, even better.
And you get a free... That's one free.
One free revoke or invoke. Okay, cool.
This
might come in handy.
3 rounds of this is what's going to happen.
Okay.
And he says, all right. So you were following him. You saw him in a cafe. What was the name of the cafe?
Do I know one in that area? I could pull out. I frequent a lot of cafes.
You do?
That's where I decipher.
It is where you decipher?
Un cafe?
So you
Cafe 1?
Right, okay. This is Cafe 1. And like the notes are happening and they're taking notes on everything you say. The Cafe 1, you saw this American and you'd seen him the night before running from soldiers. Were the soldiers directly chasing him?
No, they seemed to be a bit behind.
They were behind. Were they shouting after him?
I could tell they were trying not to draw attention, but I noticed them.
This is his next attack against you.
Fudge.
My die rolling is a little bit slow. There we go. That's a 4.
-2. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
No.
4.
Okay. God. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna use a fate point.
Mm-hmm.
To see all the angles in this situation, knowing that they were in a van and trying to remember how they left. Did they seem to be rushing into vehicles? I'm just trying to remember back all the finite details. I'm Sherlocking the shit out of this moment in the air. Yeah.
That'll give you a 2, and I imagine you want to maybe use that boost you just got to bring you up to a 4, so it's a tie?
Yeah. Oh, is it 4 for him? Oh, yeah,
yes,
I guess
it
that's
is.
going to have to happen. Okay. Man, this is getting tense.
He's looking at you, right? There's a little bit of chess. And I'm going to point out that this conversation takes a couple of hours.
Oh, I'm sure.
This conversation's a couple of hours long.
Sweating.
Your boost
Water's
is gone.
gone.
Your boost is gone. He doesn't get any progress on you.
Great.
But he gets a boost on you.
Great.
And that boost is that the boost is that he places you at the train station.
Oh, he knows I was there.
That's his boost.
Okay.
He says,
okay.
What was this American wearing?
I described what I described that night at the. He was wearing a green army pants of some kind. It was kind of dark, and a coat.
All right. And you saw him at this cafe. He was picking up a package, is what you said?
The next morning.
The next morning. You said it was the next morning.
When he picked the package up.
And you were out for what reason?
I'm a bit of a night owl and a reader. I even reached in my bag and pull out an art history book. I was off and took some time to myself.
You said he was at the Café Trois?
1. I said Cafe 1, right?
Cafe 1, you said. Interesting. Okay. Pardon me, I must have misheard you.
It's all right.
It's all right. And now, from whom did he pick up this package?
Like I said, another figure. I didn't get a good look at them. They simply came in with this box and passed it off, and it seemed rather suspicious.
What does this person look like? The clothing, the hair color, man, woman, old, young?
I'm unsure of their gender. They were agile, so younger, I would assume, and they slipped in, cap down low.
Was he wearing pants? What was he wearing?
Pants and a trench
Pants and a trench coat, he says. And what color hair?
I stop and actually, I'm going to let him think I'm pondering this.
Mhm.
And I'm going to think and I go, actually, there was no hair showing. So either the cut was short or it was all stuffed into the cap.
And then, like, he sort of notes to the person who's doing the stenography. All right, and so it's a cap. What color was this cap?
It was a houndstooth.
Houndstooth cap. All right, since they met.
I'm just making shit up now.
And you meant to meet with, follows this man? And he walked. Did you hear anything in the conversation?
There wasn't much of one. It was a pretty quick exchange. They tried to hide the trade off of the box when he put it on the ground between their feet, but
I see.
I noticed right away.
What shoes? If you noticed their feet, what shoes was they wearing?
The American was in, of course, military boots, gave it away instantly.
I see.
But the other one was in some kind of, and I kind of stop and go, it was a smaller foot.
Smaller foot.
Maybe that of a woman.
I see. Interesting. All right. Now, you then traveled north to follow this man?
I did, as fast as I could, and I tried to get ahead, and instead I got this.
And he hit you on the ground, is that right?
No, he smashed my he smashed my head against the brick on the doorway entry to the roof.
Now, how did you get onto the roof?
I shamefully came up the back way.
I see. And now he's going to ask you this with his third attack on you.
Yes.
This is a 4, and he'll say,
A 4?
He'll say, Fräulein, it takes about 30 minutes to send messages over wireless. If you were following him so closely, how did you not interrupt him in the middle of a broadcast?
I lost track of him, like I said. I was trying to get ahead of him and set up on the rooftop to catch a picture. I didn't follow him to an alleyway. It felt far too dangerous.
Roll me your defense on this one.
My will. Okay, everybody at home. Ah! There's no way I'm making it out of this one.
Go.
He says,
okay, all right, let's see what he says and then I'll recover.
Tell me if you're going to go and spend some fate points on that one and what you're going to do. And he says, I don't understand how you go from being in a cafe to being on the roof of a building taking photographs, but also you are following this man. That seems very strange to me.
It all happened very quickly. I know that it sounds suspicious, but I followed him down the street. I saw whatever the street out front was. I say, look, I've been here since before the German occupation, and I know the streets pretty well. So when he went down street, I chose the back alleys and followed him as far as I could without making it obvious. And then when I got ahead of him, I came up through a dingy apartment building and posted on the roof, hoping to catch a photo from the rooftop.
Are you going to spend some fate points to boost that? I just want to know.
I am. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. So.
Fate.
I mean, you don't have to. You can just stay and let him beat you by 6.
We got tons.
I'm going to spend a fate point for shady and uncertain alliances. Who gives a crap if I'm telling the truth? I'm feeding him information. So there's 2. I'm at 0. I am a good German. So we can add 2 to that. And I'm up on the gossip. I got one of those to cash in too.
This will not help you with the gossip.
Damn it. Okay. What can I do?
You're two down.
Started himself.
Yeah, I'm 2 down. There's no way to you can't roll again. I can I could take another fate point and take an aspect. Yeah.
If you have an aspect that will apply, yeah. Hmm.
Okay. I can't decide. My high concept here is almost okay. Okay. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna spin another one, and I'm gonna invoke my high concept, which is a German born prodigy obsessed with seeking knowledge. And I'm about to get real with this mofo. And I go, look, I had to leave Germany because I was a bit of a I haven't always been a good German. And I just kind of put that out there. I was a rebel rouser, and I came here to study art, and it does my heart good to see my country here. I just want to help, and I might have put my nose where it doesn't belong, but it was the least that I could do. I guess I found myself in the wrong place at the wrong time, and I touched my head.
You spin that fate point to put you at tie.
He can believe me or not.
He will use one of his aspects that you will now know about, revealing a new aspect. He has a nose for liars.
Oh boy.
Hey, none of that's a lie. Everything that I just said.
Well, you were not a rabble rouser, my friend. And he looks at you. This is what you need to do. You are down by 2.
Yep.
You'll need to take
that.
Like
there's realistic Foley in the background.
In stress or consequences.
Okay, well, I already got a bashed up face for the party tonight, so I guess I'll take it in stress. That would be mental strain, yeah?
That's correct. And just 2.
Yeah, great, perfect. So I can take 3, so it doesn't matter. Good. Check.
Fine. So you take that. So you sit there. He has you sweating a little bit as this meeting goes on. And you're there for hours. And,
I just want my breakfast.
Oh, yeah. And he keeps asking you about exactly why did you have photography equipment with you? What do you mean about following him? And he asks you the same questions over and over again. And it's always like, okay, well, but now explain to me how you got on the roof before him. How did you know he was getting onto the roof? How did you know he was going to be there? Where do you think he actually...
I didn't know he was getting onto the roof. I try to answer as fast as possible. I didn't know he was getting onto the roof. He was street side. I was trying to get an aerial photograph so he wouldn't see me.
I see. Where do you think he actually did this broadcast?
I don't know. A couple buildings down to the right. Most of them are apartment buildings.
Why did you not tell the German soldiers what you were actually doing?
Because I thought they wouldn't believe me.
You...
I thought that if I played down the truth, maybe I could get an ear with somebody that really mattered.
Well.
I'm gonna play into his ego.
Well, Fräulein, this is very unfortunate. We will follow up on your information you've given us. If it is useful, we will know this, and you will be... We are always friendly with those who are helpful to us. We will compare this drawing you have given us with drawings we already have and see how similar they are to people we are looking for, and hopefully the information you've given us is accurate. And the more accurate it is, the more help I can give you in the future.
That would be lovely.
And please note, I always pay attention to my friends and just see how they are. I like to check in on them. But
wonderful.
I cannot keep you here forever, even though I might like to. Your company is so delightful.
It has been a pleasant morning.
But I have things I have to do as well later this evening. I'm always busy. So, Fräulein, I will let you go. It's only been a few hours after all, and I have other things to do, other people to speak to. I will let you go. I appreciate your helpfulness.
Anything I can do for my country.
Fräulein, I hope you will continue to follow any suspicious-looking people that you might come across. I would hope you'd be a bit more observant in the future. As an artist with an eye for detail, I would like more detail from you. Addresses, safe houses, better descriptions.
I'm just a waitress. I don't know anything about that.
Well, you will learn to be more than just a waitress. It's in your best interest.
Of course.
And also, it's in the best interest of this cafe that you are a waitress in.
The club.
Yes.
I hope you enjoyed your time.
I did.
Jeanette seemed to.
She did. Well, I'm happy that I do not have to shut down the cabaret at this point.
I am as well.
Knowing that I have a friend there, working there.
Friends.
And as long as you are my friends, and this cabaret will be fine, and you will be fine, and anyone else you are friends with will be fine.
Of course. Why wouldn't we be?
Good. Just pay a bit more attention next time, because I'm very certain we will see each other again and have these conversations regularly.
I look forward to such activity.
And as long as our conversations are useful, they will continue to be as pleasant as this one. Oh, wait. I can keep you another 15 minutes, can't I?
Of course I can. I know where to be till this evening.
Yes. And he snaps, and he brings in a cup of coffee. And he brings it, and he slides it in front of you. And he takes his cup of coffee, and he says, "With friendship, there are always advantages. Would you like we have a little pastry for you as well." And,
pastry.
And like a really good German pastry, like with nice streusel, and it's like maybe some fruit in there. It's like a nice tart. It's brought before you.
It's like a little doggy biscuit.
Oh my God. Well, I can't say no. I sit and I pick up my coffee and I kind of thank him and I sip it and really enjoy it so he can enjoy that I'm enjoying it. Make it very obvious. And I set it down and I say, well, it seems odd to have coffee without polite conversation.
Of course.
You're not always business, are you?
No. This is your chance to perhaps discover an aspect on him if you like.
Great. I'm working there. I know that my evenings are filled with waiting tables, but I bet yours are much more interesting. You said you're headed somewhere.
Oh, yes.
A party?
Of course. There's always parties. This, I'm sure it was Jeanette who told you about it. She has a hard time keeping her mouth shut.
It's funny, actually. I heard about a party from some of Jeanette's friends.
The Harpies. Yes, I'm sure they want...
How apropos.
Indeed. But it is such as life, but soldiers always need some sort of company in the time of war.
Well, they are fine choices.
Well, they're not as beautiful as Jeanette.
There is no competition.
You, except for this wound on your head, are quite beautiful.
Thank you. Come from good blood.
This is true. It's always so sad when there are only so few good German stock. Why are you not married with children?
I'm a widow.
Oh, you should remarry. We need children for the fatherland.
Of course. It is a duty. I am still in quite a bit of mourning, though.
Your husband, what was he?
He was a German officer.
Oh, I see.
It seems a bit too soon to move on.
I see. What was his name?
I will give his name because he did in fact serve and under Goebbels.
Yes.
Goebbels. Goebbels. I had it right. Yeah, Goebbels.
But he's not dead.
Oh, he is. My father's alive.
Oh, your father's. Oh, I
My
thought
father's alive. My husband did actually.
your fiance.
My fiance. We never got married.
Fiance, yeah.
He is dead now, technically. Long after the run.
Yeah. He just sort of notes the name of your husband.
My father still serves.
Ah, and your father's name?
That's truth. I'll give him my father's name.
It is known that you're a burned German agent back in Germany, though.
It's true. Do I know of somebody else by the last name? Probably not.
So the thing is, you've already given the name of your fiance, which will probably get back to you.
That's fine. I'm going to kill this man anyway. So I'm just biding time at this point. He's going to die. I'm just sizing him up right now.
Snipe his ass.
Oh, there are so much worse ways to kill somebody. Regina's a chemist.
This is, I personally, I am married and I have 3 beautiful children.
That is so wonderful to hear. Do you have pictures?
I do. And he reaches into his inside pocket in his uniform, and he pulls out his wallet and he flips it open, and there's this picture of this couple. Like, you see him, and he's wearing like a business suit. He's not even in a uniform at this point in time. He looks a little bit younger. And you see this woman, and she's got her hair in braids, blonde, and she's like wearing like a dirndl. And then you've got these like 3 kids, and like they're wearing like short pants, and like you can see the Alps in the background.
I look and say, what a fantastic family.
I love them very much.
You should. They are quite a family.
I think so.
I bet you are proud.
I am. I think they will do great things for the fatherland.
All we can hope for.
It is very difficult and lonely being so far away from them.
I imagine, but I suspect Jeanette keeps you in good company.
She does. She passes the time. Well, it was a pleasure to have a conversation
with you. I finished my coffee. Thank you. Finished my crumpet very kindly. You as well. I hope that it's not always business.
Yeah, hopefully not.
It is difficult to have appropriate conversation in French.
This is true. I've always thought to myself that German is the most beautiful of languages. It has a strength to it. It feels like it's a language that for conquerors and visionaries.
It is strong.
Yes, it's not weak like French or Italian. It's a language that's... Yes. And like you can see him, he realizes he's catching himself because he's about ready to sort of like start going into his mind.
Of course. Well, until our next chance meeting.
Don't be a stranger. Oh, and perhaps the next time we speak, I can give you good word from your home.
Here's to hoping. Remember, I told you I was a rebel rouser, and I kind of joke with him.
Sometimes good German women are not so passive. This is one thing that is always true. They always cause trouble.
Well said.
And he lets you go.
Great. On my way out, I take note of everything. I want to know how many staff members he has. I want to take note of like his security detail. I want to know which door he's in. Does he reside here? I want to know everything.
That seems a little ominous. You take note. I'm going to need you to give me awareness.
Ooh, I don't know that I have that. That's okay. That's okay. I'm just on my way out. I'm not trying to draw attention. I don't have to be saucy. I'm exhausted. This has been a hell of a morning. I rolled a -1.
You are being escorted out by soldiers, and so you don't really have a good chance to scope the place out.
Perfect. I know his address though now.
Yes, it's a huge hotel that he is.
Oh, great! He's in a hotel.
Yeah, they've the German intelligence have just taken over. They just
All the hotel.
They just
All the
take
hotels.
people's. Yeah, they have just taken over people's homes and hotels, and they've just moved in.
Just like that.
Yeah, just like that. And Sylvie, you are at this cafe.
Yes.
You were supposed to meet Regina hours ago. You've had your time you're at the club. You've had your time with Jeanette, and you are back at the club, and she is not there. What do you do?
Well, I start prepping for the night since I know that we aren't going to be there. And I had called Charlie to come in early, down 4 people. Yeah, mostly just getting things ready, and before everyone came in and started working there anyway, we were a little light on staff, so it's not totally unusual. I'm just assuming that people will show at some point, or I'll just pack up the band and go myself, I suppose.
When you in this process, give me an awareness. Just an awareness.
Awareness.
That's all I want.
Let's see. Well, I don't have any extras on that, so apparently I'm not extra aware. A 1.
Yeah. You notice something a little disturbing as you're going about sort of getting prepared for the day.
I don't like disturbing things. What is it?
There are a lot more German soldiers everywhere. And I don't mean like 1 or 2 more German soldiers everywhere. There are a lot more German soldiers, almost on every corner. And you don't know what this influx of soldiers is doing, but you note it just from and this is something that you noticed just from this morning to this evening, right? Because you're getting sort of like geared up for the evening, and there are German soldiers everywhere.
Do I need to get a broom and like push them off the
stoop?
The stoop?
And it's just it doesn't sit right with you. You don't know why, but it doesn't sit right with you.
Well, and especially after what I saw with Dimitri, I'm going to take some snacks downstairs to the hidey hole.
And they're still back there, quiet. Like you wouldn't even know they are quiet, unlike other people.
Well, and I think in part going down there was also just to reassure myself that they were still there and okay and in one piece.
And they eat. You are running low on your stores. It's a little sort of worrisome about when you'll get more supplies for the cafe. But they are happy to see you. And it's always this, like, the grandmother always like grabs your hand and squeezes it every time she sees you. And she doesn't say much, but she just always like reaches out and like grabs your hand, or like there's a lot of touching, like we'll like touch your shoulder, we'll grab your hand, like it's like they want to, I don't know, they want to make sure that you're real in some kind of a way, or to let you know like there's clearly some kind of
bond.
Yeah, to let you know how much this means to them. Like
I will grab her hands back. That's what I will do. And I'll ask them how they're doing, if they slept all right. Enough. And in the time that we're waiting, because I know that there's not a whole lot to prepare upstairs, I'll take down some of the boas and like play with the kids with the boas and see if they want to come on.
Oh, they have so much fun, and like they like put on a little play for you. Like it's in Polish, so you may not understand it. Although maybe you speak Polish, depending on how much you picked up from Dimitri.
A little bit here and there. I will mostly rely on context clues.
And so you get a little bit here and there, but they're giving you like a little bit of a play. It's like a folk story. And like they are, and like you can see them like having a little bit of joy since they've had some food. And it's not too long before, Regina, do you go straight to the club?
No. Regina probably finds an alleyway nearby and has a squat and a proper cry.
Yeah.
It's been a hard morning, and she doesn't let other people see her break.
Yeah.
But all of it, from like having to watch other people's lives be ripped apart by Nazis because of her actions, and then having to lie my way through that, and recognizing that going to the party tonight may not be a good idea, and that I have a very short amount of time to get rid of him before he finds out who I really am. All of it's just too much to take, and I got to go back to my apartment, and there's an American there.
And you also might want, since you told him that you came in the back way, you might want to pick up your incriminating evidence.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to swing back by and grab all of that. Yep. So I got to go back by, get it. I pop a squat, have a cry, just a really bad cry, and then I go back and unlock the American.
Okay.
And make sure he's wearing a fucking hat, and then I will go to the club.
Sylvie, I don't think Regina gets there in time, and you have to go without her.
All right. Well, before I leave the children, I will tell them that if they keep practicing, they'll be able to put on that play on my stage. Then I'll make sure everyone's put together and stuff, and then I'll head upstairs. So no one's here. Everyone has told me that I need to go to this party, and no one is here. No one is here. What is this? What is this? I'm left here to do all of this by myself?
No one is there.
No one is here.
But your band is there.
This is ridiculous. Well, all right, fine. I guess I'll take the entire band. The entire band will come with me then. That's fine.
You take...
Right, even the tuba player.
Even the tuba player. Hey, tuba gives you it's good jazz. Yeah. You take your entire band and you head off towards this party where at the estate, at the chateau, everybody, most of the workers have left except for the ones that have stayed behind. And Jules has been given this offensive costume. It's like a loincloth, and he has a palm frond to carry, but then also like a silver tray of canapes, and he's been told to get dressed and be ready for this party.
Do I see him?
We will get to the party right after the break. We're going to have our break, everyone, and then we're going to have our party. So we're going to take our break. 10 minutes, and then when we get back, we will enter the party and find out what Regina's plans are when she's going to arrive. What is she going to do about this?
Hell if I know. I don't know. I don't know, Trooper. There's only so far in advance Dot can plan for. None of today was part of it, except for getting off of that roof. I did plan all that, but the rest of it.
Sometimes.
Hey, but you made it.
You made it.
But I made it back
with only a little bit of stress and also some wounds
and a busted up face.
It's been worse. I was gonna marry a German,
and not a good.
A Nazi. Let me rephrase that. I was gonna marry a Nazi.
Yeah,
not a German.
So my friends, we're gonna go on break. 10 minutes, and when we come back, we're gonna have a party. So go and hydrate, get some water, drink, stretch your legs, and we will see you when we come back.
H.V. Kaltenborn. Are you finding it hard to concentrate on your work these days? Then here's a suggestion for a quick cure. Get out in your car and go. But first, make sure your car is cured of its spring fever, too. Get that lazy, logy, winter-weary feeling out of your car with Pure Oil's complete bumper-to-bumper changeover service. Every car needs all these services to get set for summer driving. And your nearest Pure Oil dealer is the man to do the job right. You'll save time and money by putting your car in shape for summer the Pure Oil way. And you can get something for yourself besides. Pure Oil dealers are now offering a bargain as a bonus with their bumper-to-bumper changeover service. It's a fitted picnic hamper, a $2 retail value for only 98 cents with the changeover. See your Pure Oil dealer for details on how to get it at his station. And now, H.V. Kaltenborn.
Good evening, everybody. The President conferred today with his principal advisors on defense. He asked their advice on what must be done to speed the production of heavy bombing planes for Britain. On the basis of the advice he received today, the President knows that it is one thing to order more speed, but quite another to secure it. In the production of airplanes, we have reached the limit unless, and here is the unless. Unless materials now assigned to private manufacturers for private purposes are repossessed and turned over to airplane manufacturing plants. Unless trained technicians employed by private enterprise and in less essential defense enterprises are released to the airplane industry. Unless experienced foremen and supervisors trained in operations with some relation to aircraft production are made available to the airplane industry. Unless there is a cessation of strikes in plants producing airplane materials or airplane parts. Unless there is decisive action to force much more subcontracting throughout the aircraft industry. Unless the President can make much more clear than he has so far the immediate urgency of all these departures from our normal way of life. It is perfectly evident that the administration in Washington has received news which indicates that we must speed our help to Britain if it is to be made effective. Secretary of the Navy Knox and Secretary of State Howell have minced no words in telling us these things. Tonight, Secretary of War Stimson will have his turn, but no member of the Cabinet is able to speak as forcefully or as persuasively as the President himself. Britain's representatives in the United States and in Great Britain are doing their best to drive home the urgency of Britain's situation without striking any note of apprehension or panic. When the Premier of Australia arrives in the United States tonight from London, it is quite likely that he will seek to make clear to us the changed situation that results from Hitler's conquest of Greece and Yugoslavia. In London today, Foreign Secretary Eden appealed to the United States to use its influence to have air, give Britain Irish bases for the Battle of the Atlantic. The Foreign Secretary said, if Hitler wins there, he wins the war. Eden described Britain's position in relation to air as fantastic. He claimed that British use of bases at Berehaven and Lough Swilly would transform the submarine war overnight. His words on American help were these: the United States is today helping us greatly in many spheres and many ways. The more fully, the more rapidly, the more certainly that help can reach the battlefields in Asia, Africa, and Europe, the shorter will be the duration of the war. In the United States, Senator Pepper told the Senate that the American people are ready to spill their blood to prevent dictators from ruling the earth. He urged the United States to get tough by cooperating with Britain in the occupation of Greenland, Iceland, the Azores, the Cape Verde Islands, the Canary Islands, Dakar in West Africa, and Singapore in the Far East. On Singapore, he echoed the advice given to the United States by Hallett Abend, longtime New York Times correspondent in China and one of the ablest students of the Far East. In his book, Japan Unmasked, Abend says, once Japan makes an assault upon that key position, it will be too late for us to get there. We did not send our fleet westward to or towards Singapore because we feared such an action might anger Japan to the point of a declaration of war. Our refraining from action may go down in history as another blunder of the democracies, trying to avert an inevitable conflict. In the House of Representatives today, that body refused to prohibit the transfer of confiscated German and Italian ships to Great Britain. Members of the House declared before the vote that such a transfer would be an act of war and that it ought to be specifically prohibited before the House votes to authorize the confiscation of these ships. By a vote of 161 to 131, the House declared itself willing to face whatever risks were involved in that procedure. In both House and Senate today, it became evident that there is growing apprehension about the imminence of war. Joseph Stalin has replaced V.M. Molotov as Soviet Premier. Stalin has assumed his new duties as chairman of the Council of the People's Commissars, in addition to his position as General Secretary of the Central Committee of the Communist Party. Molotov will henceforth devote himself exclusively to his duties as Foreign Minister. On its face, this shift implies no change in Soviet policy. If anything, it emphasizes Russia's desire to remain neutral. Instead of working from behind the scenes, Stalin now steps to the front of the stage as the Soviet Premier. But we should remember that Stalin has personally participated in every important act of recent Soviet foreign policy. He favored Litvinov's policy of collaborating with the League of Nations on behalf of the principle of collective security, while that policy presented advantages to Soviet Russia. When Stalin saw that France and Britain, by their policy of appeasement, had strengthened the dictators, he turned to them. Litvinov was replaced by Molotov as Foreign Commissar. 4 months later, in August 1939, Joseph Stalin made the pact with Adolf Hitler, which cleared the way for the Nazi attack on Poland. This is what we mean when we say that Soviet Russia gave the signal for the beginning of the World War. As Premier of the Soviet Union, Stalin will serve as Chairman of the Council of People's Commissars. This means that he will preside over the sessions of the Russian cabinet and will be in the most direct touch with its actions and policies. It is quite possible that Molotov wished to be relieved of this burden. The Moscow radio, which a few hours ago announced Molotov's retirement, emphasized the burdens of his dual role. Foreign policy is now Soviet Russia's dominant concern. Hitler's advance in the Balkans threatens the peace of Russia. Stalin is under no illusion as to Hitler's purpose. He knows that before long, Hitler must have more oil and more food to remain the master of Europe. Russia has both. Stalin has the choice between two policies. He can continue to cooperate with Hitler in further acts of international brigandage. Europe's two powerful international highwaymen can agree to share Turkey, Syria, Iran, Transjordania, Palestine, India, or any combination of these territories. Turkey might even be brought into the partnership and given a share of the loot. This is probably the policy Stalin would like to adopt if he were sure of purchasing immunity from invasion by such a cost. But he is not sure. Stalin's chief purpose is to remain at peace while preserving Russia's territorial integrity or expanding his domain. But we know that Stalin is seriously concerned over Germany's conquest of the Balkans. Every step that has been taken in foreign policy by Soviet Russia during the past few months indicates this apprehension. Russia seized Bessarabia and Bukovina from Romania without first receiving Germany's consent. She has continued to encourage Turkey to resist German aggression. She rebuked Bulgaria for permitting German troops to...
And welcome back. I'm so happy to have you all back for the second half of or second third, really, last third of City of Light and Shadow. When we started, we had a bunch of stuff going on, and in terms of, we had a friendly interrogation, an escape. We have Jules being our scout and setting up the location in a way that can be a little bit of a surprise. So that's very exciting. Jules has 2 free invokes of knows the chateau like the back of his hand, which you can use for rerolls or to make something happen. So that's very exciting. And at this moment, Regina is having a hard time. She's not feeling very well at all because she's just been interrogated and it was really tight and it's not looking good. The noose is tightening on her a little bit. And so she is late for this party. She needs to clean up her story. She needs to get back the radio, get back her code book, figure out what's going on, get herself ready for this party, while our Sylvie is taking the band to this party as well. And we will start at the chateau. So here's the chateau. It is now dark. It is night, and it's still early. There are a lot, like the amount of soldiers around the chateau is sort of stunning at this moment. And our Jules has been given this offensive costume to wear. It's got a turban, but then also a grass skirt. They want to put him in sort of like war makeup, and they give him this big palm frond to like fan people with, but they also want him serving drinks. And he's not the only one. They've sort of gathered up a number of Black French people, and they've got them dressed up in these sort of offensive colonial fantasies so that they can be the sort of the background at this party. And the party itself has not yet started, but Jules is there. He's no longer having to sort of haul things around. He's sort of waiting, but he's there at this moment when he sees, what Jules sees. He sees the food coming in. It is now 6, and this is the point in time where all of the art has been set up, and the decorations are up, but now all the food is coming in, and you are seeing trays of meat and fresh vegetables. It's like there is fish and beef, venison, there are potatoes. I mean, like there's coq au vin. There's like it's just this, and it's knowing that people
food went.
Yeah, this is where all the food went, and knowing that people have no food, right, at all, to see all of this like rolls with butter, like warm and melting off of it, like, and there's just this giant spread, and there's wine being set up, and there's this like a chocolate fountain, and there's like glasses of champagne all set up in a pyramid. It is the most decadent amount of food. There's caviar that you have seen, and it is it's a lot, and it's all being brought in, and there's like, ice to keep everything cold. And it's about this time when Sylvie arrives with the band, and Jeanette is waiting nervously sort of at the front. And when you all arrive, Sylvie, there's this party planner with this ugly scar, and he's like, "What are you doing here?"
My dear, and Sylvie cannot take her eyes off the scar.
It's ugly. It did not heal well. It's not an attractive scar.
My dear sir, and what's your name?
I'm Lieutenant Oppelt. And what are you?
Lieutenant Oppelt, we are the degenerate entertainment for the evening. Surely you were told about our arrival. I would be surprised if someone who has everything else so well put together didn't know of our arrival. I would be, for one, very shocked at this.
He starts getting red, and he starts like, and he looks like it's, and he goes through his clipboard. He's got a clipboard. He goes through it. There's no degenerate music on this. And he looks, and there's an entire band there. I need from you deception. It's a -1.
Jeanette is there, though, is she not?
She is. He rolls a 1.
Fate.
Fate. You know, you probably
Thank you for being here.
want to fate that up, but also depending, your good friend Jules put a boost on our Oppelt, and that he's nervous. You could use that for,
And you know,
for free.
As he starts flipping through the papers,
A little frantically.
I'll tap my zero holder on the papers and be like, now, Lieutenant Upples. Really? Tell me, what kind of a party would not have live music? Certainly any good German party would have live music. You know this. You are clearly a man of class.
Do you want to use that boost?
Sure. I mean, we need to get in.
We'll take out that boost, which now makes you tied. If you want to get through, you need to give yourself one more thing.
All right.
Spin me a fate point.
We'll do it. I'll use mine.
Mm-hmm.
Da-da-da-da.
And what's your justification?
They don't have any music. They don't have any music. It's just good party sense.
What's your aspect that you're
Lame
invoking?
Party. That I am incredibly good performer. And I will tell him, listen, look. So perhaps you will have heard of me. I am a very well-known singer about these parts.
What is your name?
Sylvie Moreau.
Sylvie Moreau. And he just sort of takes your hand, and you can tell that he's freaking out a little bit because there's this band right in front of him, and he's like, he's not quite certain. And then at this point in time, a man walks up, a man in a black trench coat, and he walks up and he goes, "What is this, Lieutenant Oppelt? Do you not have everything handled?"
And then, since he's not properly addressing my hand, I will move my hand over to this other gentleman and be like, "So, the renowned Sylvie Moreau, jazz singer of Paris."
And this new man who walks in, sort of severe, he takes your hand and he turns it over so he looks at your palm, and he kisses the palm of your hand and then the other side, and he says, "Oppelt." And he hands your hand back and he says, "I did not know."
Yes, Oppelt.
"That you were so prescient to hire the great Sylvie Moreau to sing at our party."
Well, Lieutenant Oppelt here is a visionary of the arts.
And he sort of like tags his scar a bit and he goes, "Yes, that's right. Yes. I hired him myself." And Jeanette's like,
But you know, Jeanette really had this.
And she says,
our go-between.
and she nods, and she says, "I'm acquainted with the Colonel Falke." And they're like, "Oh." And they said, come in. And they sort of wave you in, and Oppelt just sort of, he's a little nonplussed. He doesn't really know what's going on, but it looks like he's not going to get in trouble. So he just sort of like ushers in. He's like, and as he's walking you towards the chateau, he says, "Well, we're going to need a stage."
Could Lieutenant Oppelt, please? Any degenerate band can make any corner of the room a stage. Trouble yourself not. Go scuttle off to a corner. We'll make do.
Oh, all right. That's fine. I have to make sure everything's ready for the guests. And he sort of rushes off.
Wait, you're making me nervous.
And as you walk in to this place. And I'm going to give you a full description once Regina gets there. As you walk in, it's still in the midst of being set. There's still a bit of hassle. But there you see Jules in the most ridiculous outfit holding also a palm frond. And the whole place is full of art. And a bunch of sort of black French people in really gross outfits, and these sort of like and it looks like there's like little they're actual palm trees. They're like 8 foot tall that have been brought into this ballroom, and there are like there's like gauzy fabrics that sort of seems to look a little bit arabesque perhaps, and it's you're not quite certain if this is supposed to be the Caribbean or North Africa or the Middle East. It's a little unclear, but it's all sort of set up in this, and it's a little tacky, you know? Yeah.
A little.
It's really tacky.
While the band sets up, I'm going to approach our dear Jules.
Yes, he'll be hiding behind something, a pillar, something.
Why Jules? I look him like exaggeratedly up and down. Jules, I never knew you had it in you. This.
I'm doing this for the cause, only for the cause.
Well, you know, if aside from how horrifically gaudy, mismatched, and offensive it is, I don't know. Maybe I'll institute a shirt-free policy at the club.
Sylvie,
What?
it's enough. This is difficult enough.
Well,
Stop it.
let me know if you need anything. And is there anything you were able to find out, by the way?
Yes. They will be moving many paintings, and also the owner of this chateau, Madame, I tries to remember her name.
Lisette Dumont.
Dumont.
Ah, yes.
Oh, I think she might be a good ally for us in the future.
Interesting.
One thing you will know is that resistances at this time, they need money. If they can get money or loans, and having people who are wealthy who can give loans is a lot if you could get that.
Well, and us being here and her being such obviously a fine patron of the arts, a reason for her to put a very non-suspicious loan into the club. Good to know. These are words that please me to hear.
And of course, as you can see, there is champagne.
There is, you know, jazz certainly wouldn't be jazz without a glass of champagne.
That's right.
So I will take one from whence I can get it.
As you are you're in this moment, the party begins to fill up with guests. Guests start arriving and sort of coming in. Now, Regina, you, I assume you're going to post haste get your incriminating evidence away from those places.
Yes, I need to grab all my bits. I gotta get my gun. I gotta get the stuff off the roof, and I gotta get my basket, and I gotta book it home to get it American.
You book it home, and when you come into your apartment, he's sitting there looking sad.
Get up, we're running late.
Where am I going?
We're going back to the club.
Oh, okay. What am I going to do there?
Do you want to stay locked behind a door?
No.
Stop asking questions.
Oh.
Put your shoes on. Why are you barefoot?
Well,
such an American thing.
Sometimes
put your shoes on.
Sometimes it feels nice to be barefoot.
Clearly, you've never. It doesn't matter.
Puts his shoes on.
May I give you a word of advice?
Sure.
I don't know what it's like in America.
Oh, it's great.
But I didn't ask.
Oh.
Here in France, learn to sleep with your shoes on. in case you have to run.
Yeah, but
Shh. Put your shoes
Shadow, I get it. Because I grew up on a farm. Did you grow up on a farm at all?
on. No.
Oh.
I grew up a wealthy German.
Oh. Well, I tip my hat, but...
Don't. Put your shoes on.
He puts his shoes on, and he gets...
I immediately, like, go hide my book and, like, put my things away and clear the space of evidence, especially after this event.
And then you take him to the club.
And then I'm going to make sure he doesn't look anything like any description I gave this morning. I'm going to clean my face.
Yep.
Clean my face up a little bit, and I will go to the club.
And they're gone. And there's Charlie. She's like, hey, they already left.
I assumed. Hopefully they are sticking to the plan. I'll be fast behind them. This one is not to leave. Do you understand?
Should I put him...
Is the closet full?
We can always fit more in.
I look at him and I go, you want to talk and make friends, right?
Sure.
Good. Come
Hey,
this way.
am I going to see Sylvie again?
Only if you're a good little American.
All right.
Great. And I drag him downstairs and I pop the closet. I'm sure the family is still there.
Mm.
I look at all of them and French. They were French.
They're Polish.
Polish. They don't speak American, do they?
Mm-mm.
That's okay. I put my hands up like, don't worry.
And there's some discussion in in Polish.
Yes. Oh, I'm sure there is, and I don't speak Polish, not even a lick of it. But I try to make signs of like, I'm not going to harm you. He's I point to him, gonna hide with you, and I kind of put him in the closet, and I go, they only speak Polish. Have fun. And I lock him in the closet with the family.
And you then head towards this party.
I fix my face. I wear one of Sylvie's dresses because Lord knows I don't own anything.
Yeah.
I try to make myself look like a good German in Sylvie's closet, which I'm sure is far fancier than a good German would ever wear. But I figure it out and I book it as fast as I can. I slip my gun in my garter and I go.
You head towards this party. It is maybe 7:30 or so before you can get there.
Great.
And there are guards and checkpoints every which way. And of course, your papers are looked at 15 times.
Sure, for everything.
Everything. It is, and they want your invitation.
And I don't have one on me, do I? That's okay. I probably still have his card on me in a clutch. And I show it and I say, I'm in fact with the band.
And
Sylvie?
And
does he look concerned?
Give me a fate point.
For what?
Give me a fate point.
Oh, right. I gotta get in this party. Okay, there it is.
You give me a fate point, and the guy who's in front of you, the guard, he's like kind of a basic guard. He is not
basic guard.
He's basic. He's not buying it. He's not going to budge. That's not it. There's no way. It's no way it's going to go through. But as you say that you're there with the band, Sylvie Moreau, a guy walks by. Sort of in a uniform, and this really ugly scar on his face that is like just gross. And he walks by and he goes, "Band, let her in. She's with a band." And you can tell he's on the edge of like
what he said.
And
I say,
I'm like, "Oh, yes, sir, Lieutenant."
Chop, I'm with the band.
Oh, and they let you in to this party.
Okay, I'm in.
And he says to you, "Hurry up! It's already starting."
Pardon me. And I pit her off to go see where it started.
And you walk into this ballroom, and there are a couple of things you see right away. And I want to make sure everyone can see it.
Oh, I'm about to take a large list of art items in my brain hole.
So when you walk into this ballroom, the band has already started playing. They're playing something beautiful, and the art is amazing. You have this amazingly evocative, there's just like scores of art.
Right.
This self-portrait by Elfriede Lose Wachtler. You have, in addition to that, you have this piece by Gustave Courbet, and you know all these artists, the Stonebreakers.
I probably stop in my tracks just looking at it all.
And these are some amazing, valuable pieces. There's this piece by Jean Metzinger, who's a French cubist poet, a painter, Le Canot. And then you see a Van Gogh, and it is the painter on his way to work. And there's like the art that's in this space is stunning. It is phenomenal. It is impressive.
And procured.
And also quite a bit of it, not all of it, but quite a bit of it was featured in the Degenerate art show that was in Germany just a couple of years ago. So this is a bit
Would
of
I have gone to that?
You might have gone to it, yeah.
I've only been out about a year.
Yeah, so you might have gone because you're an art person, and this is like all of like the most degenerate art, right?
Sure.
From some amazing artists, Germans, French, from all over, people who, and this was always held up to ridicule as like the worst. And these pieces, by the way, audience, all of which are still missing today.
Yep.
They're all.
I was about to say you got to the last one. I was like, oh, that's not even around anymore.
It is not around
database
anymore
at the moment. Yep.
Yeah, these are all still missing pieces, and all these pieces, they're all here in this place. And as you see this amazing work of art, these works that are beautiful, that is when the band strikes up a tune.
We have money, 1922. Let all the women make a fool of you. Why don't you do right like some other men do? Get out of here and get me some money too. Sitting down and wondering what it's all about. You ain't got no money, they will put you out. Why don't you do right like some other men do? Get out of here and give me some money too. You had prepared 20 years ago. You wouldn't be wandering out from door to door. Why don't you do right like some other men do? Get out of here and give me some money too. I fell for your jiving and I took you in. Now all you got to offer me's a drink of gin. Why don't you do right? Like some other men do. Get out of here. Give me some money too.
And everybody claps, and they're so excited to have some really, really good entertainment in this moment. And at that space, the main doors enter, and in walks soldier after soldier after soldier. And they step aside, and then a man walks in. He's squat. He's tall, powerfully built, very square-faced, sort of stocky in this uniform that's ostentatious. And he walks in, and on his arm is this sad-looking French woman in a emerald green dress, Lisette Dumont. And he has her on his arm, and he walks in, and he says, "I heard it from outside. That degenerate music was very good. Degenerate, of course, but excellent." And everybody is quiet when they see this man. It's not Helmut Falke, the colonel, who is not there at the moment, probably in the retinue behind this. If you know your German stuff, which certainly Regina knows. And I think without a doubt, Jules will know. As long as Sylvie is up on the news at all, you know who this is. This is Herman Göring, the second in command of Nazi Germany. He's the Reichsmarshal. He's in charge of the entire military. He's one of the reasons why France fell so quickly. He's the head of the Air Force personally. He's the head of the entire military. He's the head of the he's the Reichsminister. He is the second in command. If something happened to Adolf Hitler, this man would be in charge. And he walks into this party. And he claps for you, Sylvie. And he's there, and he says, "I'm pleased to have on my wrist, my arm, Lisette Dumont, whose house this used to be, as a symbol of the friendship between the French and the Germans." And he just she nods, and people sort of clap.
Germans. Clap for good Germans.
And he comes in, and in him, behind him, become this whole retinue. And there's the Colonel Falke. There's like a bunch of, and Jeanette sort of goes to his side. And there's like a large group of people. And he sort of says, "I would like to make an announcement. We are here for a celebration." And then he gets distracted by some of the art, and he goes, "Oh," and he sort of snaps. And one of his attachés comes up, and he starts pointing to the art that he wants. And he says, this one, I want this one.
I take note of every ounce of that. I want to know which ones he points at. I want to know which ones he's taking.
Oh, he wants the Van Gogh. He wants that one for certain.
Of course he does.
Oh yeah, he does, right? So he's like, "Oh, I want that one." But he goes, "But pardon me, I don't want to distract from the great news we have. Well, first I should allow one of our hosts, Colonel Falke from Military Intelligence, to make his own announcement, but of course I get to announce last." And people sort of chuckle and laugh. And Colonel Falke sort of nods and goes, "I am happy to make a wonderful announcement. This is quiet news, but we were going to make a great blow. Something we've never done yet before in France will happen tomorrow, and I cannot give the details, but we will be making a great blow for the fatherland. This is a bold new policy, a beginning of something new and glorious for our time here in France. But I will say, stay out of the Marais," which is this Jewish neighborhood, and people sort of laugh. Stay tuned to this radio station. You will see wonderful things, and it is the product of a collaboration between military intelligence and our Wehrmacht, and of course our collaboration with the French police, and there's like a French police chief there at the party as well. And as you look, there are luminaries and dignitaries all over this party. Like the head of the French police is there, head of German military intelligence, head of the German military, the military commander of Paris is there. Apparently also Herman Göring is there. Like everybody's here at this space. And he's like, I cannot give details because it is, of course, a secret operation, but please note that military intelligence is on top, and there's also a Gestapo guy, and they seem to have a tension between them. Military intelligence will be making great strides that only we could be doing, and so please note that by tomorrow evening when you have dinner, you should be thanking the Wehrmacht and military intelligence for keeping you all safe. And there's clearly some sort of tension with the Gestapo guy there. And the Gestapo is basically Nazi intelligence, and so there's something going on there between them. And then Göring goes, well, yes, whatever that is that we are celebrating in advance, but we can't know the details of which, is not nearly as exciting as what I'm about to announce now. Ladies and gentlemen, and he's waiting for that moment, right? He's waiting. No offense to our French hosts, but our French hosts, not all of them, some of them are much more pliable, and he sort of points to Mademoiselle Dumont, much more friendly, but the French have not acted in good faith. As you all know, they have removed all of the great works of art from the Louvre, hidden them, but most importantly, placed them in places that are probably dangerous for the great works of art. These works of art must be recovered and kept somewhere safe, in a great museum, not in some salt mine or abbey or castle somewhere in the countryside. They are things that should be seen for everyone. Of course, it is difficult to know where French who do not care about art or friendship. We do not know where they are held. And this is difficult for us because I think the great nation of France is being done a disservice by these cowards hiding the great works of art. Well, my friend here with the Gestapo has an announcement he can make in detail, and smiles as this man in this black trench coat steps forward. And he's wearing the black uniform of the Gestapo underneath his trench coat. And he gives this look to Falke, who gives a sour look back. And he goes, yes, well, my good Colonel Falke cannot make any specifics in his announcement, but I can make something a bit more specific for mine. We have been sending out agents and gathering intelligence, and I can announce we have learned the location of the Mona Lisa, where it is being held, a castle in the countryside. And tomorrow, when our Colonel Falke is doing whatever thing he thinks will be good for the fatherland here in Paris, we will be finding the location and bringing back the Mona Lisa and sending it directly to Berlin. And everybody claps. And then Falke goes, pardon me, I'm just asking if I might. Hassel, do you currently have the Mona Lisa in your presence? Do you actually have it? Then Hessel goes, no, we do not yet have it, but we know its location, and we will get it, and we will get it tomorrow evening. And it would be such a shame if no one cares about your little operation tomorrow, because ours is so much more important. And Falke just sort of is gripping his champagne flute tightly. And Göring says, well, please, let us all enjoy this degenerate art and be reminded about the ways in which art impacts the soul, and art that is good for the soul makes the nation stronger and better, and art that is degenerate and terrible will make countries weak and easily overthrown. So look at this art as a cautionary tale, as something to be afraid of and want to distance yourself from. Look at it, for this will probably be the last time this art will be seen by anyone else. Please, enjoy the party. And our hostess, Lisette Dumont. And he says, Lisette, I hope that your family is happy. And she kind of just looks a little shocked. And the Gestapo man Hessel goes, yeah, well, the last I spoke to them, they were resting and doing quite well in our company back in Germany. And I'm sure nothing bad will happen to them at all as long as our relations stay well. And she just is sort of stone face. And then Göring sort of stops as everything is quiet. And he sort of looks at you, Sylvie, and he goes, well, let us have this more degenerate art. Strike up the band.
To the degenerate art, then. And I indicate the band to play something.
And the band starts to play as people start milling about in this party, filled with this great art. And there's Herman Göring sort of walking through, and he's got this Gestapo guy right on his side, sort of kissing his ass, really, brown-nosing. And Falk is sort of like in a corner with some of his people. And there's like, you can kind of see little factions and tensions at this party as Lisette tries to sort of be the good hostess. And there are numerous French women there who are clearly trying to get boyfriends at this party. There's music playing, there's food, there are people eating this food, and you are all there at this party.
Have I seen Regina enter yet?
You have.
The band.
I probably didn't take my eyes off you while you were singing.
The band is doing an instrumental. I'm going to go down and see her.
I stick to the shadows and try to stay in the back. I'm here, but I don't want to be here.
I'm going to come on over. Regina, where have you been? You know I had to come up here by myself and see you.
I pull my bang back to reveal a massive whelp that I've tried to cover. Shh.
What happened to your face? You didn't drink. You didn't pass out, did you? What happened to you?
Quiet conversation for quiet conversation for say another time.
Did he touch you?
No, it's self-inflicted.
Well, we all have our things, I suppose.
I laugh at you a little bit, knowing that you know that that's not the case.
Yeah.
There were some issues during my photography shoot this morning that landed me, in multiple hours of interrogation.
I figured that might have been the case. We'll discuss this later. Well, it seems that, based on what I was hearing a moment ago, the art we supposedly keep in our minds aren't the only things that are salty around here.
Yes. It seems that there is a bit of unrest.
Did you hear what he said about the Mona Lisa, though?
It is all I've thought about since he said it.
I've also heard, thanks to our bare-chested server over yonder, I don't know if you saw him, right there.
When you point and I look over at Jules, and I kind of raise my eyebrows.
Right, hey, you see him? You see him right there? Right there?
I smile and wave a little bit. I lean in and I simply say, is that a uniform we could have at the club?
I think it would be very popular.
We would sell a lot more drinks.
It's horrific, of course, but I think a lot of ladies and gentlemen alike would really appreciate it.
Something to think on.
Indeed. But I did hear that apparently the said hostess is not particularly thrilled with the status of her guests, per se.
I too have heard this, unfortunately, due to this morning's endeavors. I should lie low. Maybe you could speak with her when she's away. And I kind of point. Do not go near that man, do you understand?
I won't go too near. I've already been near to that one, though. The one in the, I point to jacket guy who made the Mona Lisa now. Turns out he's a fan.
Is that right? Seems that everybody is a fan.
Hey, we can use that to our advantage. Who knows what a little schmoozing might get us?
You may want to smooze to Jeanette as well, since she got us in here.
Oh, I forgot about her. Where is she?
I don't know. Probably needing an ego boost.
And you see her you see her sort of hovering around Falke, who, and like you just kind of like see this moment where she's hovering around him, and he's clearly with the boys, right? Like he's with all these sort of like military people, mostly army rather than SS or Gestapo, and they're sort of like in a circle trying to have man talk, and she's there trying desperately to get some sort of attention, and he's not paying attention to her at all.
Go save her, and whatever you do, if he asks, I'm with the band, yeah?
Of course.
I came with the band. I'm gonna go get lost.
Sure. Well, you know, you should go. You should go over there. I think it would be. He was here before we were anyway. He might know something about the layout.
Okay.
But I think he's embarrassed.
he's definitely hugging the pillar.
I saunter over to Jules.
But before you can, oh, hey, JF. I would like to give you a fate point.
Oh, you're invoking our trouble.
I would like to invoke your trouble aspect if you do not mind. You can give me a fate point and not have this trouble happen, but I would like to have Jeanette see you and her fan and come over and talk to you because she's excited about that, but her boyfriend not be so excited about that. I would like there to be some not good trouble when she comes over to talk to you.
This sounds like great trouble.
Yeah, give me danger.
Do you want it, or do you want to give me a point? Like, you don't have to have it.
I'll take it.
All right, I'm going to give you this point.
Never scared, trooper.
So Jeanette sees you, and because nobody's talking to her, and she's not been able to sing, and she's feeling shut out, she sees you, one of the last people that was actually like, who asked for her autograph, and she rushes over to you.
Jules makes eye contact. He looks away.
Nope. She rushes over to you, and she gives you a hug. She gives you a hug.
Oh, there's not a lot of clothes to buffer that hug.
And she like kisses you on both cheeks, and she goes
on both cheeks.
Mm-hmm. And she goes, "Oh, my biggest fan." And she like sort of like puts her arm around yours, and she says, "I did not know you would be here."
He'll look at her arm and all the Nazis standing around.
Yeah.
And he's gonna look at her, give her a meaningful look, and kind of disentangle himself.
And before you
I'm so looking forward to hear you sing.
You hear and Falke walks right over. And because he saw this. And she seems a little excited that she's getting attention from him.
Oh boy.
Oh, you're gonna be used, my friend.
Oh man.
And he walks up to you. And he has this sort of pleasant look, but his eyes are dead.
Can I just say, since I was going to be going over to collect her anyway, when I saw her start to scuttle over, I started to also join in on this fun friendship time. So how soon thereafter can I arrive after our beloved colonel gets there?
There's a tense moment.
I would like to scoop in as soon as possible.
As Jules disentangles himself from her, who is standing a little bit too close to you.
He's definitely going to step aside, grab his palm, and look at the mister with a smile and say, "Mein Herr?"
And Falke looks around, and and he makes a gesture as two soldiers walk over. And this is about where Sylvie can show up.
Jeanette! Oh, I am so good. And I like come, and the way I cut through is I cut through and like right in front of Jules, and I just like almost like football check him out of the way. Like, 'cause he was hugging a pillar. So I like check him like out. He's out of the circle now. You're, no offenses, but you're out of the circle now.
I was headed that way. Maybe I'll snag him by the arm and get him out of there.
Jules, just step back and make.
I'm like, oh, Jeanette, it is so good to see you, and I give her a hug, and I'm like, Colonel, it is an absolute
And he goes,
pleasure.
one moment.
Good sir.
And he has his 2 guards stand right behind Jules. And he goes, excuse me. And he has not yet seen Regina.
Good. I do not make eye contact.
And
my hair is up. I avoid him entirely.
And he walks right up to Jules. And he's got these two soldiers flanking you. And he looks at you. Up and down. And he looks at Jeanette. And he looks at you. And the Gestapo guy is not that far away, with a little bit of a grin on his face. And the Gestapo guy goes, huh. Apparently you cannot keep a hold of your mistress, can you, Falke? It must be that this man has something that you do not. That's what everybody says. And then some of the Gestapo guys laugh.
Oh, fuck.
And Falke looks at the Gestapo guy, looks at Jeanette, looks at you, and he's going to punch you in the face.
A face punch. Oh,
I would
no.
like to know if you would like to defend yourself.
Against this Falke.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
He's going to punch you in the face.
I'm going to... let me see.
With and he's like, let's say he's got like a fighting of 2, so that's a 5.
That's a 5.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty
He didn't
good.
hold back.
No.
Back.
The question is, do you want to defend yourself?
Hell no.
Good. You take that punch. Good man.
20 Nazis standing around.
Yeah, you take that punch.
Gotta go upstairs. I'll be right back.
So he hauls off and he punches you, and you realize as this blow crashes into your face that
Do I kind of see it coming?
Oh, you see it coming.
He's got a bit of a boxer. I mean, he'll kind of try to take it, the right way.
So you would like to defend yourself?
No.
Well, it's not a fight back, but you're trying to roll with it, right? So that would be athletics.
Yeah, at the very least, he's going to do that because he's not, he's got some kind of.
Give me an athletics.
It's athletics. Okay, well, I'm quite good at that.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not. I have fight.
That's if you were going to fight back.
Okay, fine.
Athletics is to sort of roll with it.
Okay, well, yeah. Then that's an ordinary.
Ooh.
Yeah, is that good? I didn't see it.
That is not good. That's a -2.
That is really not good.
That is really not good. Would you like to
yes,
boost yourself in some way?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
How would you like to do that?
And how would I like to do that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Fuck. There's nothing. I got nothing. I got fate. That's all I got.
What aspect would you like to invoke?
Oh, with the fate. Okay.
Yeah.
You're nimble.
Yeah, I don't. Let's see. Here.
Well, you are a protector, right?
Yes, but
that
I'm protecting myself.
But that means you're a good fighter.
Yeah. Reckless protector.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, the point here is just not to, lose some teeth.
Yeah. So the question is, would you like a reroll or a +2?
Oof.
I'll go for the reroll.
Yep.
Oh, yes, I will.
Yep. Do it. Spend one of your fate points and do it.
I'm a gambling guy.
Oh, much better.
Much better.
Much
Right.
better.
That's what I'm talking about.
And do you have athletics?
No, I don't.
All right.
I do not.
So spend your fate point.
Okay, it is. I'm taking it from the group, my friends.
Yeah.
So let me get there. God damn. No, did I start off with 2? Because
You did. I just gave you one. You had one, and I gave you one.
Okay, good. And
I gave you one.
here.
Yep.
Yes. And so then I need to delete it.
By just clicking on it and then deleting. So as he comes and he does this, he hits you with this blow. I can do it. And he is a powerful fighter. He's got a really strong stance, so you can tell that he's trained. And he comes in and he hits you square in the nose, and it reels you back a little bit. And you can start feeling a little bit of blood, and you know that like you probably broke your nose. What I'm going to need, this is what happens when you sort of get into a conflict. You just took 3 shifts of problem. And so you need to soak those 3 shifts with either consequences or stress. You have a physical stress box that's worth 1 and one that's worth 2. And then you have a consequence which is worth 2. So what I feel like you should probably take 1 physical stress, your first box, and then take one consequence.
Mental?
One mild consequence.
A mild consequence. So I got 2 now, so I'm adding 1 to that. Is that it?
So you just like check off that bottom box in your stress.
Yes.
Physical stress, and then it says consequences, the one that says 2. Just fill that in with, say, broken nose.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So now you have a broken nose. And having punched you right in front of the entire party with all these people looking, do you do anything? Do you decide to? Everybody's watching.
Everybody's watching?
Everybody's watching. Because there's a punch thrown right in the middle of this party. Thank you, Fate Point.
I'm gonna kind of.
And he looks smug.
He looks smug.
He does.
I'm gonna hit the ground. Go with the momentum, and he's gonna hold his nose and get up. Not get up. Just wait for people to start mingling again.
And Falke turns to Jeanette. He goes, "Come with me." And he kind of grabs her and sort of pulls her away from this assembled group.
Where are they going? I want to watch them.
They're going to go off to sort of like a kind of a slightly more quiet part of the party itself. Like they're going to still be in the ballroom, but he's moving directly away from the Gestapo guy. And he's going to have a talking to with her about
I'm going to go over and
embarrassing him.
I'm going to go down and see how Jules is doing.
I'm going to stop him. I'll simply make my way kind of in their path and accidentally bump into Jeanette, and I go, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And then in German, these were your evening plans.
Fräulein Leixner, it is a surprise to see you at this party.
You, I guess, makes sense you would be here, playing into that ego.
It does not make sense that you would be here.
I am ashamed to say I got a ticket with the band, and I gesture to Jeanette and the band.
Jeanette, so it is your fault that this band is here. And she sort of smiles, and she says, I thought that... Oh, so sorry, I'm going to have to say this. It's really bad.
Yeah.
Not necessarily bad for you.
We love you and we trust you, Trooper.
She says, yes, I got them in, but, Herr Hassel thought it was a very great idea for the band to be here, gesturing to the Gestapo guy across from the ballroom. And you can see Falke you can see the muscles on his, like, the corner of his jaw just tense as she references the Gestapo guy, thinking it was a lovely idea.
It's time for me to step up a notch. Turning it up to 11, everybody. I go, as much of a distraction as it may have caused, it did in fact get me here and us again in conversation. So some good has come of it. Thank you, Jeanette.
And she goes, "Oh, yes, my pleasure. But I think I'm going to be able to sing now." And he looks
It's so hard to help her.
He's got this face, and he's like, "Under no circumstances." Sylvie, you notice the Gestapo head just moving closer and closer to that little gaggle over there, just to see what's happening in that conversation.
The trench coat man.
Mm-hmm.
I shall intercept.
And at this point, Jules is heading upstairs.
Yeah.
Okay, he's alive. He's fine.
Yes.
I'll say some terrible things about the colonel, and then go to intercept our good friend, the trench coat.
Let me paint this moment. Sylvie is going to intercept Trenchcoat, Hassel, to sort of just intercept this head of Gestapo in Paris, where Regina is standing there with Falke, who's clearly fuming about Jeanette's behavior and antics in this moment, and also being fuming about his exciting thing that, because he actually cares about security, is not actually saying what it is, whereas Hassel felt like was going to one-up him right there in this party in front of Göring. So that's so like, he's fuming, Jeanette's right there, and Jules, having been punched, and that being a good enough excuse to walk out of this space, walks upstairs to the top of the staircase where the vase is.
That's right.
Where you left your gun.
Yes.
What do you do, Jules?
Well, it's gonna let go of his throbbing nose. And that throbbing, it's not just his nose, it's his soul. And he is seething. And he's had enough.
You know what? I feel like that consequence you have, we're going to rewrite it. It's not a broken nose. Sure, you've got a broken nose. That's fine. But actually, we're going to call it...
a grudge.
We're going to call it wounded pride. That is the 2-point consequence that you have.
Yeah, because he remembers in that moment when he's reaching for that gun, he remembers all those people looking down at him.
Yeah, that's right.
From the ground. They look down at him when he's standing up, but something.
Yeah. And we're going to call this wounded pride. And for those in the audience, these consequences are also aspects that can be invoked for good or for ill. So you can use them as well. You, with your wounded pride, you're there by this vase. What do you do? The second in command of all of Nazi Germany is downstairs with a couple of platoons of soldiers. The head of German intelligence is down there. The head of, for Paris, the head of the Gestapo for Paris is down there. The head of the French police is down there. Who knows who else is down there? Probably also the mayor of Paris is down there.
Yeah, and you know, his sense of duty, you know, is like kind of like this receding planet that he's leaving, and it's becoming smaller and smaller in comparison to the rage that's propelling him into reaching towards this pistol, the pistol of his fallen father. And he will take that gun and clutch it, and he will try very hard to remember where he's coming from and why he's doing this.
And that's where we're going to take a break for the evening. Right there. As he ponders whether or not he should walk downstairs with this gun and shoot some people or not. This is where we call it for the evening. Right here, where Jules stands at the top of the staircase with a gun in his hand. Regina is standing, is dressed up as a pickaninny in this humiliating costume with his nose bleeding, with this gun in his hand. Regina is standing there right in front of Falke, who's on the edge and furious at the politics that are happening in the city that are not serving
To
him
his liking?
not to his liking. And Sylvie has just intercepted the head of Gestapo for Paris to make sure that he does not get involved. And the band is playing in the background. And all around the room are these precious works of art that have been stolen and plundered, waiting there. And Göring is touring this ballroom, noting which ones he wants for his private collection. All the while knowing you are the only people in this room know that the Nazis know where the Mona Lisa is stored. And they're going to get it tomorrow night, and something else is going to happen tomorrow as well. And that is where we leave it for tonight.
Oh, Foxhole, he's having so much fun. So are we.
If Trooper's happy, we're all happy.
Really?
Lie. Lie.
Hey, you're at the party. There's champagne. There's pate. Caviar.
Yeah, but I haven't got to have any yet.
Hopefully Stiver's going to arrive and lighten things up.
Hopefully
swear.
Stiver will arrive.
To God, if he comes rolling in late, I will stuff him in a boot, drive his ass to the river. I swear, if he comes and messes this up, he will.
He will, because that's what he does. I want to sort of think we got some bits over the course of the show, and I want to thank Rissa for some bits. Thank you. Also, Volpez for bits. And we all went up so quickly on me. Thank you, Rissa, Volpez. Also, Dot for some love for that wonderful singing.
Those beautiful lyrics.
It was amazing. I am just so.
I dropped hearts because mine did.
Amazing.
See what I did there?
Oh no.
Dot's way more charming than Regina.
Oh my goodness. I'm so excited. I want to thank all of the audience for being here. Thank you. We went a little bit long because we had a late start because of tech issues, but we're going to go. I want to say that next week, I think will be the conclusion of our party. I don't know how it's going to conclude, though. I will just note. Oh, thank you, Skexy. I will note there are a lot of soldiers with guns at this party, and one former soldier with a gun upstairs. Why don't we all introduce ourselves to close it out? But also, why don't we just say, I think I'd be very excited to find out, what are you up to? Like, where can we find you? What projects are you doing? Give us your projects. And then just say something that you really enjoyed that other folks have done. And I would like to start in the middle this time around with Little Red Dot, who has got a lot on her plate at the moment, is doing so much. And I'm so in awe of all the things she's done.
Oh, thanks, friend.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I'm also in awe, I will just say, because I'm introducing you first, I will say I am very impressed with you getting out of that problem on the roof. That was
Did I do it? Okay.
You did it.
Because
That was
don't
some
think I
expert
didn't
work.
pine over it. I have multiple notes where I like write a plan, I'm like garbage, and I'll like scratch through it. I had one note that where the arrows just led to fuck. Like, it just said fuck on it. So
I was
I
like,
pined over it.
yeah, I was like, you just talking about it's not going to work out, but I was like, no, this would. All right, that. All right, yeah.
She's gotten herself out of worse situations.
Mm-hmm.
And into worse situations. I'm Dot. There's a metaphor for my life. I am currently during the day running the Dad's Garage Twitch channel. You can come hang out with me there. I'm slowly training a team, but I'll still be hanging out there during the day because I have control issues. And yeah. If you want to know more about it, can I drop links?
Yes. I also have your Twitter link up there.
Oh, perfect. This is an interview I did all about it. So instead of me talking about it, you can go listen to me talk about it. Cool. Yeah. Find me online as Little Red Dot. I do things, I tell stories, and I work with incredible talent over at Dad's Garage.
Rissa wanted to know how many fate points they have left. They only have 4 group fate points left. Yeah.
I can tell it's only going to get easier too. So
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So good. Yay. I'm so. Oh, and tell me something that you enjoyed.
Oh, right. Okay, there were a lot of moments that I really enjoyed. I really loved how the party became this like melding pot for the shit that we had all stirred up over the last couple episodes. I thought that was just like a really brilliant move on your part, but like also played really well by the cast in terms of like how we kind of got there and worked our way in. And now we know the things, and I'm really interested to see if we can get the fudge out of this situation, and we can get back to some kind of semblance of safety of like where people's priorities will lie.
Yes.
Because I think some are going to lean one direction and some are going to lean another, and it will be a very interesting moment between our parties. So I thought the party was interesting because it's going to cause drama. Yeah.
You have a lot of things that you have to decide what you want to do with, right? And also if you want to shoot some people right now in public. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. The
easy decisions.
Easy decisions. JF, we're going to go with you next. And you don't get to say anything yet. I want to say, JF, for me, one of the things I really loved about what you did today was this moment with you with the gun, right? This is this moment that is, and actually just you, the relationship with the gun in general, that this is your father's gun, right? That you brought it with you, that you were like, no, I won't. Maybe I will. No, I'm going to bring it. And then you brought it with you. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to stow it in case there's trouble. And you're like, I just got punched in the face by this guy for his ego, for this whole thing. And then you go and you get it. Like this image of you standing at the top of this staircase as this party is going down below with blood on your nose. That right there, that is just leaning into that goodness. I love it. It was so good.
Yes. I mean, the idea was to kind of build on what we did last time with the mom and everything.
Yeah.
This kind of boiling point that's being reached, over a few episodes, and he's definitely reached it now with that punch in the face. Oh my God, man.
And
I don't even know what he's gonna do.
I know, and he had those guards there because because it's a sucker punch. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly. He's a fuck. Yeah, that's what he is. Resistance. It's a game of cat and mouse.
Yeah.
It never ends well for the mice.
No.
It's a matter of time, and you decide how much time you have. It's not a time to be self-indulgent. It's all about sacrifice. But I can imagine right now playing this character, how difficult it must have been for the people involved, just not to take things into their own hands and, just give in to these feelings that they were having.
Yeah. I mean, it's grotesque, right? Like,
I salute them.
All the food is right there, right? Like, this is in somebody's home that's been stolen from them.
Yeah, I'm not just talking about black people. I'm talking about women. Yeah. I'm talking about men.
Yeah.
Just the crap they had to put up with.
Yep.
We're just barely scratching the surface of that.
Yeah.
And it's horrifying. So yeah, it was incredibly dramatic. I loved it. I want to take this opportunity to give a great big shout out to France that is under lockdown right now, and probably the first time since the Second World War. So big shout out to everybody in France and around the world.
And where can we find you? And what are your projects?
You can find me at Double Crits on Twitter. Project I am currently involved in right now on Wednesdays, The Witcher, playing another crazy character, much crazier actually, with the wonderful Foxhole.
And I love thinking about the differences between Dusa and Jules, because they're really quite different in these interesting ways.
It's crazy. One of them's a brutal killer, the other one's not sure
if he is a brutal killer or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And last but not least, oh my goodness, Rockette Fox. Your singing was amazing. And of course, as always, your costuming is on point. I knew it was coming, and I was so excited for this to be like this moment, right? When Göring walks in and there's this song going on, and it's like this. So good.
Well, I wasn't expecting that.
Göring, the second in command of all of Nazi Germany, went to Paris a lot because he liked to steal art.
That is certainly a place to go for that purpose.
Yeah.
Yes. So thank you so much for singing.
A pleasure. And it's been the itch has been strong. It's been a long time since I've had a band locally, so I was thrilled to be able to.
So good. So tell me, what are your projects right now? Where can we find you? And then what was your favorite moment? Give us a moment.
Yes. Well, moments first. And I was going to say too, as per Jules and versus the other character in Witcher, give it time. Everyone can be a brutal killer.
This is where
I really loved both moments with Jules at the top of the stairs with the gun. Like, what an intense fucking moment, and also Regina in the alley.
Oh my goodness.
Like these just super intense moments for both of these people, having experienced just such traumatic events, and a lot of facial injuries. So I don't know. I feel like Sylvie needs to just like break a glass on her face. Join in the fun.
Don't ruin the moneymaker. Come on.
Not the moneymaker. Anything but that. But no, it's just, and I, and both Jeff and Dot like beautifully just like encapsulated these moments. Like they were really just very powerful. So I think those were incredibly strong moments. But yeah.
Where can we find you? What are you doing?
What happened?
What are you doing? Tell us your projects. You've got stuff going on.
What's going on?
I do have stuff going on. Actually, speaking of Witcher, I just did a piece earlier today, inspired by, which apparently it's Reddit seems to like it, so that's my other success of the day. But it's if y'all have ever seen the Calvin and Hobbes crossing the log thing, I did that with Geralt and Roach because playing Witcher 3, we had a very weird glitch where Roach thought she was people. And she stood up on her back legs and just stood there. And it was real upsetting. But yeah, that's a thing. Yeah, so I just posted it around. So that's been fun. But yeah, no, if you look me up anywhere, Rockette Fox on the old Instagram or Facebook, I almost said facial book. I'm thinking of just facial injuries. And Twitter, even though I'm not quite as prolific on that because I don't really get it. But I've also been doing my regular stream again on Thursday afternoons. And I'm starting to add additional stuff to that. We are actually going to be doing, I was inspired by your Othello read that you were involved with. So I actually have some actors, and I believe Schiffer said that he would be involved as well. We're going to do a read of Tempest.
Nice.
Oh,
And I've got some Shakespeare people locally here as well as abroad that are going to join together for this fun time that I'm going to try and schedule between multiple, just terrifically different time zones. So we'll see.
Hey Fox, did you know something? It's a weird thing. It's a little detail. It's a little bit of trivia which you might be interested in. I don't know.
I love trivia.
Did you know that Little Red Dot is a classically trained actor? Did you know that?
You know.
I'm just noting it.
We will speak.
You're not supposed to. Yeah. Long ago, in a galaxy called the classical stage, before I was a dot.
Hey, I once lived long ago too. Well, so yeah, but that'll be coming up at some point once the calendars align. And but yeah, gonna be that's pretty much my story.
And I'm troopersjp. I'm your GM, and my job is to just, give the players the opportunity to define their characters through adversity. That's all I'm here for. That's it. I'm just here to help you explore. Get a little bit of punch in the nose.
Perfect.
That is it. So thank you. You can find me here, and of course, if you want to support the show, we have a Patreon, and that goes help support the cast. You can also follow. You can subscribe. You can hang out in our Discord, where I will be. I have the message that that she's not yet had the chance to decode from London.
Sorry, I've been in
she's been a little busy
most of the day.
A little busy. Interrogation. But we've got some stuff in there. And you can find me on The Witcher on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Although there are only 2 more episodes of The Witcher that I'll be in left, because that's when the season ends, and after that will be Overlight over on Dot's channel for me, which I'm excited about.
I gotta get on that. But you know what? I closed out 2 shows this week, so Dot may actually have some time. 1, because I need to collect some peaches in Animal Crossing, and 2, I need to plan for that campaign.
Wait, peaches? Because is this like a Georgia thing? It is, right? It's a Georgia thing. Why are you being a stereotype right now?
They chose for me. I didn't get a choice. It's not my fault. They did it. And for the record, our number 1 crop is not peaches, even though it is our state fruit.
Wait, what's the number 1 crop?
Peanuts.
Oh.
And soy and tobacco and cotton. Long before peaches.
All right, then. Fine. So all of you audience members.
I'm a farm girl.
I like it. But wasn't Carter, right? He was a peanut farmer.
Yeah, make from Macon.
Mm-hmm. I want to thank everyone here in the audience for being here. Thank you for being here. It is much appreciated. We will be here next week on Friday, same bat time, same bat channel, where we're going to find out what they do now that they're in the party and they've got a lot of different irons in the fire, a lot of different irons in the fire, and we're going to see how they go. So everyone, take care of yourselves. Much love to you all, and we will catch you all on the flip side. Bye, everybody.